Oh my god. Oh man, fuck work, but then my friends come in with the clutch in the group chat and make me laugh. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. I'll have to explain in a second. I hate Mondays, but that certainly has made the night far more better. Wait, what the fuck? Why does Google results for Safeway CEO Robert Miller have 3 photos of what look like 3 different people? Is he an undercover boss type guy always changing his appearance? Yeah, he's trying out for face swap. Or face off too. Right. And oh my god! Holy shit! Stefan isn't lying. Oh my god, there really is. Serves as the CEO / president of Safeway. Oh wait, no, that's the whole executive team. Oh, I see what's going on here. That's like a whole executive team, so like one of them I think is. Hold on. What the fuck? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm assuming one of them must be the CEO president. You got Karl Rove, Dick Cheney, and George Bush all together again. Oh my god, dude, it kind of looks like that. Dude, the guy in the middle in that picture would definitely be Dick Cheney. Karl Rove on the left and Bush on the right. My god. Yeah, so much better. Oh. Right here. Let's get some tunes going. I haven't done that yet. I'm feeling heavy shit tonight. That is what I'm feeling. So, yeah. There we go. There we go. Man, at least my weekend's gonna be nice. Get to see Gemini Syndrome in Wednesday 13th for tomorrow. And I'm just gonna be chilling Wednesday. But then, you know, my usual karaoke weekends on Friday and Saturday. And I think I might stream again on Friday night at the bar. I might not do it every time, but I probably might do it every now and then. I guess it'll just depend on my mood. And if it's like poppin' or if it's slow or whatever, I'll like, you know, maybe make that somewhat of a more regular occurrence. Not like, you know, all the time. Maybe like, I don't know, twice a month, probably. Like once every 2 weeks or something. Or maybe once a week. Something like that. But yeah, work today was just kind of lame. Well, not really that bad. Actually, for a Monday, it wasn't super busy. Well, for a Monday. But luckily, you know, we at least had some people here till 4, but that doesn't really help. So, at least, we're able to, you know, like, keep up with the case, though, a little bit. Like, you know, because there was, like, a slow period before the rush, and I was like, you know what, I can tell we're a little low, I already know this is going to go down and be gone, so I'm making, like, a bunch of chicken. Of course, once that is about halfway done, yeah, I got it all sold. So I was like, fuck me. Midnight Train to Kelso MC. I mean, I don't know if, I mean, I will admit, for that trip to Kelso, I mean, you were kind of my ride up there, so I don't know if I'm gonna go up there. I'm Lydia, I should have a second beer. Yeah, do it. I got 3 tonight. Like, I don't give a fuck tonight. I already had half of it, half my first one walking home. I didn't give a fuck. As soon as I left the store property, I'm like, fuck this. Fuck work, fuck this shit. Like, cause once I started cleaning the fryers and shit, the first one was fine, but it was so caked up full of bullshit. Like, I had some oil spill out of the fucking grate that would catch all the major debris, and fucking, like, the oil started overflowing from that onto the ground, and I just went, oh, fuck, and I had to kind of, like, shift all that shit out, and I just said fucking and dumped all the whatever oil I could out of that, and just ran that to the garbage bin, dumped that, and said fuck it. And then the stupid fucking grease trap somehow got stuck, because I had to, like, you know, get, like, a better air pathway with all the oil to, like, the suction shit. Hard to explain. But, like, you know, and it got stuck somehow, and it jolting it back in place and pushing it back in caused more oil to fucking spill everywhere, and I'm just like, well, fuck this. This is bullshit. And, you know, so, like, yeah, I had to deal with that, so that was fun. And honestly, most of my, like, cleaning in the back tonight was really trying to clean that up. Like, I had to mop it, like, 2 or 3 times over, I think. Just because, like, the first time basically just kind of spread a lot of the oil around. The second one got most of it off outside of a few corners, and the third time it got most of it out. And I was just like, man, what the fuck? There was a decent amount of oil to make even America want to liberate it. And it was like, what the fuck, dude? Goddamn. But, hey, you know, at least it could have been worse, I guess. I mean, it was filtering, but so fucking slowly. But it did eventually finally filter out, where there wasn't any oil left in it, so. Oh my god, that thing was a pain in the ass to clean. Oh my god. And, like, before I went on my lunch, before I saw you guys, when you and Harley were over here working on the truck, like, I made, like, probably, like, 8 to maybe like 10 bags of fucking chicken, because like every time I put some out and top it off and get the next batch ready, that would be gone. And it would be like that same process up until about like 6 to 6:30 when it finally started dying the fuck off. And I was actually going to go on my lunch sooner, but then my other coworker went on lunch before I could say something to him, and I was just like, well, shit. Alright, well, whatever. And actually, that ended up not being a bad thing, you know, just mainly because, like, you know, because I know how to deal with stuff in the back, like, you know, frying the JoJo's tenders or anything else that we might need, you know. And since neither of them really have had to deal with any of that shit really yet or at all, you know, it's something that I think at least was a silver lining for it, so it was whatever. I just took a long fucking break and just said, fuck it. Beer's been cracked. Golden State Cider, a Radical Paradise. That sounds fucking awesome. Oh, but also I found out, for the guy that transferred, wait, hold on. That's so ironic. I overheard the Winco deli lady complaining about how much chicken was sold today. Every time I look away, I need to get a new batch ready. Dude, well, yeah. Why is Monday chicken day? I don't know, dude. Like, I think, like, every major grocery store corporation decided to agree that Monday is hell day for anyone that works, you know, at the grocery store that day for delis. Because, like, for us, just a digital coupon that if you have the Safeway app, you can, clip with your club card, you know, for, like, cheap fucking ass chicken, like $5.99 for an 8-piece of, like, dark meat, which is 4 thighs and legs. And, like, dude, we're not even that busy and have that much of a frenzy about it on fucking Fridays anymore, when that used to be the big old day. Now, at this point, like, everyone's just fucking coming in on Mondays. It's like, fuck, dude. It's ridiculous. Oh, and I had a lot of people asking about rotisserie chickens, too, because, like, our cook forgot to make one more batch before he left. So, a lot of people not exactly too pleased about that. Oh, and our fucking store director, for some reason, thought, like, hey, you know, you need to get some pre-sliced out and stuff. And funny enough, that was, like, stocked full earlier this morning, but apparently just got wiped out. And it literally was, like, even one of our other coworkers who works as a mid, she was like, yo, we had that shit, like, filled earlier today, and now it's all, like, there was literally, like, 2 packets of meat, like, left, and maybe, like, 1 packet of cheese. Everything else was gone. And that bitch was apparently full, and I was just like, well, I'll try to get to it, and, of course, I, like, get started on it and never could get back to it. Like, by the time, you know, we had to close our slicers, I still saw all that over there. I was like, alright, I'm just gonna, like, you know, package, you know, like, some of this stuff, but I'm just gonna set it aside so it's just ready to go for them to stick and send out there for tomorrow morning. Because, honestly, I couldn't get to it. Shady management strikes again. Well, it's because, like, there's sale on a bunch of our meats, too. So, you know, like, a lot of people want to grab it, you know, from our pre-sliced area and stuff, and also want to come to our meat counters. So it's like, I mean, when you got a lot of that shit going on, shut up! When you got a lot of that going on, it's like, it's kind of hard to keep up with that shit. I mean, at least when it comes to, like, you know, like, having people scheduled, like, I mean, if we had, like, 4 or 5 people, at least until, like, 7, you know, or some shit, we could get this shit done. Because one person could just hang out doing the production stuff, 2 or 3 people handle customers, 1 person in the back handling cooking. There you go. Dude, that would actually work. I mean, you know, it might still be a little, like, stretched out if it gets really busy and shit, but hey, you know, it's like, if a little production could be foregone if they have to, like, you know, help customers here and there. You know, so it's like, I mean, that to me, you know, seems like it would just be better, you know, at least just for fucking Mondays at this point. Like, fuck any other day. Just, like, have at least, like, 4 people to, like, 7 or some shit. That would actually help. So if we need to make that the permanent price to spread demand throughout the week. Well, you want to know what's funny? That used to be the price. Back, you know, back in the day, a long time ago, like back in the old days, back when I was working there, that was. And then when they bumped it up to like $7.99, they had the sale price at like $5. So, I mean, yeah, back in the day, that's what it was. Like, I mean, so, and then after COVID, they bumped it up to like $7.99, and then it was probably like a year or 2 ago when they bumped it to like $8.99, and then the 8-piece mix was $9.99. And then they decided to make it all even at $9.99, which is honestly still kind of a fucking ripoff. But honestly, I mean, I don't disagree though. That price needs to be spread out more. Instead of like on just Mondays, they should have it on like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays or something. Like every other day or some shit. Or maybe just over the weekend or something. So then it's more spread out, so people still have a chance to get some cheap ass food or something. And it doesn't have to specifically be on Monday. But that's not how corporations work. They don't like to have, like, rational, logical decision making. They just want for-profit decision making. So, gotta love it. Especially when, like, they don't have, like, sufficient, like, or really, like, efficient ways of scheduling. Because I feel like at this point we have at least enough people to, like, you know, spread around, you know, to, like, make, you know, like, the days that we do have, you know, like, work. But, I mean, they just don't, you know, like, you know, they just don't schedule people properly. They basically make it so, like, every day is about as bare minimum as we could probably fucking get it. And, well, okay, maybe not as bare minimum as you could get, but pretty damn close. I mean, I sort of got if they could help it, they would make it about as skeleton crew as possible. Because, like, it's like, holy shit. I don't really know how, like, Tuesdays or Wednesdays are as much anymore, but at least the times that I'm there, it doesn't really seem too bad, but I've heard sometimes it can be pretty bad and pretty gnarly. But at least luckily, you know, for like Thursdays and Fridays, or at least during the weekends, it's not really that bad. Like, most of my work week at this point is actually fairly okay. But even Fridays, they're fine. Like, it's Mondays that suck. I fucking hate Mondays, like, with a fiery passion now. It's not your stereotypical, like, oh, you start your work week and it sucks and shit. Or, like, the start of school week, whatever the fuck, you know. It's, like, people hate Mondays for that. I hate it because it's my Friday. Like, but it makes the rest of the week that much better because I love Tuesday and Wednesday that much more. And I like Friday even more so because, like, it's, I mean, it doesn't really feel that bad. Mondays suck. I fucking hate Mondays. I have, like, Monday PTSD now. I know Safeway management is too competent for this, but they should have a set number of personnel for each shift to have everyone on a consistent schedule. We'll have group social equivalent to get coverage when people need it. Well, the thing is, I think that is probably how it's set up. But the problem is that, like, they just kind of just throw people, like, just wherever, you know, it's, like, most convenient for them, I think. Like, because one of our new dudes, like, he hates the fact that he has split days off right now, and he can't really, like, relay that to anybody yet, at least at the moment, because our manager for our department, her Monday is tomorrow, so she's coming back after her weekend, and I think he's going to be off that day, I think. Well, no, he's not going to be off that day, so he's working that day, so it's like, you know, for 2 weeks in now, he's had these split days off, and it's been, like, tired as fuck, and not really pleased about that. And it's like, well, and everybody around him has been, like, kind of poking me, like, hey, well, just, you know, get that shit, you know, squared away, because, I mean, obviously I want to make sure that shit, you know, is set, you know, for you to where you're most comfortable with it, too, where it's balanced for you as well, because, you know, he's a really cool dude, like, I mean, you know, and, I mean, him and I, like, both know different members of Los Malblatos, and, you know, and shit like that, and, you know, have pretty similar music taste and shit. He wants to go out shooting with me at some point and stuff. He's been kind of, like, poking at other co-workers about that. It's like, yeah, I like doing that a lot, so it's like, you know, if anyone wants to, you know, I'm always down for it and shit. I'm just like, well, shit, fuck yeah, shooting buddy. So I really like him. I don't want him to go. Like, I definitely want him to stay, because he's actually a really cool dude. So, you know, I'm definitely trying to, like, you know, kind of poke at him a little bit to be like, hey, you know, make sure you get shit, you know, worked out for you, you know, as much as possible, because obviously, you know, like, you know, it doesn't seem like, you know, don't totally, you know, like, hate what you gotta be doing, but with the fact that you were kind of, like, thrown to the wolves, you know, so to speak, even he's described it like that. He was like, yeah, I was just kind of lumped back here and haven't had a chance for anyone to really, like, actually show me shit yet. I'm just like, oh, fuck. It's like this far in, that's not good. And it's not even his fault. Like, he actually is, like, doing, you know, a pretty good job, all things considered, but it's just like, oh, boy. But luckily, I mean, you know, he seems to kind of, like, chaperone around me a little bit about, like, you know, learning about some stuff, and luckily, at least, you know, with some of the shit that, you know, he doesn't really totally know, it's not really too hard to, you know, get down. And he seems kind of more of like a visual connect learner anyways, and that's how I am, so I like showing, so to speak, you know, when it comes to teaching stuff, instead of just trying to explain it or, like, have something written down or whatever. Like a diagram, or actually having something there, you know, to, like, teach or some shit. It's, you know, for me, a lot better of a way to present it. So, at least, you know, like, that seems like that kind of clicks really well, so. And the other dude's pretty cool, too, and what I actually kind of found out is that he doesn't really know much about, like, things in the back, like the kitchen-wise, is because, like, at his old work, his other coworkers hated fucking dealing with customers, so they basically literally made him deal with everybody. Like, while they would just be out in the back, like, avoiding customers. And it's just like, bruh. It's like, man, I don't like dealing with people, and I have my off days sometimes, but, bruh, even if I start seeing a line out there, I will go out there and help. Like, I mean, because holy shit, that's literally a part of your job description. It's like, I mean, like, what the fuck? And, you know, it's like, so, because he was saying to me earlier, it's like, yeah, I don't really know too much about stuff back here. I know about cleaning the front and stuff, but not in the back. So, because, you know, just explain that to me, I was just like, oh, well, okay. Because that would kind of explain why he's been asking about some shit here and there, too, because his old coworkers basically just kind of made him just help customers at the, you know, the counter, and that was kind of basically it. So he kind of, like, knows how to do shit in the front and clean stuff up there, but that's it. And even then, it's not 100% quite yet, because, you know, I'm assuming, you know, his coworkers at his old store didn't really, like, give that much of a shit in the first place. So, you know, it's, you know, at least, you know, they seem like, you know, they're getting the hang of things, you know, a lot more, and, you know, definitely seem to, you know, like, got a good head on shoulders, so to speak, so far, but, you know, it's, like, man, I kind of wish that at least some other people department would have, like, kind of helped make sure that they know their shit, too. Like, and I don't know if they aren't or are or whatever, but, I mean, I know some people are, but, I mean, like, it's just kind of hard to do that when they don't schedule it that way properly. Like, I mean, they need to have somebody scheduled in a sense as kind of like a chaperone for them. So they have someone to kind of, like, look over the shoulder of and learn from, you know, so, you know, the people that normally are going to be there aren't having to be, like, you know, doing, like, 4 fucking things in a row instead of having to, like, do 2 or 3 like they normally would. I mean, and the annoying thing is, it was like that shit for me when I first started. At least back then, there was, you know, enough of a, like, work crew when I first started to where, like, I could have at least someone I could kind of, like, look over the shoulder of and, like, you know, make sure that I'm kind of getting shit and everyone else can focus on dealing with everything else, like customers, production, or cooking, or whatever. And I could sit there and learn some other thing on the side or some shit. You know, not have to really worry about that type of stuff. So it's like, at least when I first started, we actually had enough people to have somebody to, like, for me at the time, to chaperone. But I feel like that was honestly, like, the last time, like, at least at that department, or really, I think, in our store in general, has had any of that, to be fucking frank. I mean, outside of checkers or fucking, like, you know, courtesy, but that's kind of self-explanatory as a job anyway. So it's like, you don't really need that much explanation for something like that. But, you know, like, either way, it's pretty fucking ridiculous. I guess I'm kind of glad that I got the last, like, little, bit of good. When it came to at least being thrown to the wolves, so to speak. But I mean, it doesn't do anyone wonders, and that probably is also, at least in some part, why there's a high turnover rate. It's not just because, like, the job's shitty and stuff, but probably it's because when you get hired, you're not really exactly taught how to do it. You're just thrown in there and expected to know. It's like, I mean, like, hey, sometimes, like, even, because sometimes people might have experience and shit, but there's, like, a certain setup and a certain thing, that, kind of goes in place when it comes to workplaces. So you still need to be trained, at that place. You can't just be thrown in there and expect to know what you're doing. I mean, even if you do have experiences, even in the same company sometimes, because, each store might have a different little routine, so to speak, on how to do things. And it might be, because how my store does things might be totally different from another one. That might literally be on the other side of the neighborhood, but might have a little bit of a different routine. I mean, so I would have to at least kind of train myself a little bit, just kind of figure out how they do things and, adapt and adjust. It's like there's still at least a little learning curve with that. I mean, at least when it comes to the basic foundation of the job, it'd still be relatively the same, but still, there's at least like a little bit of an adaptive curve to it regardless. So it's like, I mean, if anything, one of our new dudes, who was a transfer, like, I mean, that kind of shows it a little bit. And, it's like, they had a totally weird, basically just throw him to the front and let him deal with customers and fuck everything else, type of routine. And, over here, that ain't the case. Like, he's, kind of, been made to do a little more than just that. But that's because we're also trying to make sure that, like, we let, like, people that actually work at the department at least have a basic understanding and know how to do both sides of the department, like the back and the front. Because, like, let's say that you have to close by yourself, you want to at least know how, even if it's not the most efficient way, at least get, like, the fryers done and shit like that, right? So it's, like, it's little things like that. So, like, it's his little learning curve, so to speak, even though he already knows a little bit about how to, work a counter and stuff. So at least, like, he already knows some stuff, but he still has to learn some new shit, because there's stuff that he doesn't even totally know at all yet. Doesn't know how to deal with the ovens and fryers or anything like that. He hasn't really been taught that yet. And that's already having 2 years of experience, and it's like, damn. And I fault, his coworkers, from his old store on that one. I don't fault him for it. I don't know exactly all the conditions of how his store was, but it didn't sound good. It sounds worse than ours. Honestly, it's like, Jesus. Which, if I remember, he said he recently moved up here, and I think he, came up here from Lincoln. Yeah, he came up here from Lincoln City because he lived up there for most of his life. So I think it might have been a Lincoln City Safeway. I think it's the one that's over there. And if that's the case, then what the fuck is up with them over there? Like, are they that incompetent? Because I've been to that Safeway before. Like, because I've been to Lincoln City, for, like, summer vacation trips with my family before. And it's never seemed that bad, but then again, I was like a teenager and shit at the time, so now that I've worked, for the company for quite some time, I'm sure now I would have a different perspective going there, so, and now thinking about it, I probably would. Love Joe Brandon, listen merger, go through Kroger, since Kroger gals with big hulking muscles in to market their new territory. I'm okay with that. You're saying that like it's a bad time for me? Like, I'm gonna have a bad time? I would not have a bad time with that. Like, you're saying that like it's a bad thing. At least to me. It's not. That's not a bad thing to me. Maybe to other people, but not to me. Like, am I supposed to be intimidated by that? I mean, yes, mommy. Most cursed image of all time. Well, I know how right it is when you said leaks, so it's probably gonna take a second. Whoever comes up with this stuff. Well, it's too tiny. So, hold on. Come on. There we go. Okay, here we go. Fake News Network echo chamber. This is the one thing the establishment truly fears. Oh my god! Yo! Yo! Oh my god! Oh my god! A TradCon AOC marries Trump and has his baby. Oh my god. Why in the holiest and unholy fucks does this even exist? I don't know, but holy fuck, that is so fire though. It is cursed beyond any recognition. But holy fuck is it fire. That is like the most like disturbing, cringiest fire images I've ever seen, dude. That's like the most banger cringe I've ever seen, dude. Like, how can something be so banging and so fire and so cringe at the same time? I mean, I don't even know, dude. That is like the one, dude. That gave me mixed feelings. Like, it's so cringe and disturbing, but yet it's so fucking fire. Like, what the fuck? Oh my god, it's unintentionally fire because of how comedic it is. But like, holy shit, is I don't even know, dude. That is truly something, dude. That is something. I mean, I am just wow. I'm kind of taken aback by that one. That's impressive. Ooh. Idogo. Such a goof. Such a sailed boggle. Here. You know what's going on for news today? I'll say. You know, there were actually a couple things I was wanting to look at from earlier. Here. Oh shit, there actually was one thing that I saw from earlier on my break that I thought was like pretty fucking funny. Well, not funny, but actually pretty awesome. Well, funny and awesome. And like kind of a rare chunk yogurt W, if I do say so myself. Like, I mean, as much of a goofball he's been lately with this whole weird presidential run, which I guess apparently he's already unintentionally disqualified himself in or something. I don't even know. That just seems like a dumpster fire, honestly, in the making. And he's got some weird trans takes that are just odd. You know, he's kind of done some mute busted too. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of him, but like he was. This is also another thing. Like, I don't know what it is with Piers Morgan lately, but he's been having like unintentionally some bangers lately. Not because of him, but because of the people he's been having on. Like, he's had Hassan on, and then his Uncle Cenk on, and then he's had a bunch of other, like, you know, pro-Palestinian voices on, just basically fucking on him and clowning on him on his own show. And I don't know why, but, you know, I can at least respect the fact that he is doing that, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, why? Like, you're making yourself an embarrassment, but I guess it is making you a lot of clicks and views, so. And out of all the mainstream hack fucking dorkball pieces of shit that do exist out there, I mean, granted, you are probably one of the few that actually has had a pretty significant amount of, like, more pro-Palestinian voices on your show or whatever, but that doesn't really say much when you keep trying to undermine everything they fucking say. So it's like, I mean, it's not exactly the biggest dub on his part, but I mean, I can at least grant that, like, hey, I mean, at least they're willing to put them on, you know, and let them say their shit. In comparison to most people, where they just will, like, maybe send a clip, you know, of them not have them on, and then just fuck on them and like gaslight and cherry pick a straw man everything they fucking say, and basically be like, nah, you're just like literally like pro Hamas and pro like dead babies. Or whatever the fuck, just literally using hyper sensationalism and unhinged bullshit. But Cenk though actually like kind of nails it all, honestly. Like I was kind of watching it, I was like, dude, he is fucking cooking. And not even letting like, you know, Pierce have any moment to like really say much bullshit either. I think, you know, part of it's because he's considered like a Democratic hopeful, and that's even what Pierce called him. You know, so I think, you know, because he's, you know, running on the Democratic side, which I don't think that's going anywhere at all. But I think because he's kind of put that out there, I think that's kind of gave him, at least to some people, like a sense of respectability more so than others. Not that I think that means much, considering, like I said, his whole run, I think, is just, honestly, kind of seems like a dumpster fire. Anyway, he sells book. He like released a book not too long, you know, before he ran. So it's like it seems kind of obvious what he's doing, but whatever. Like I said, though, you know, broke a clock right twice a day, you know, in a sense.
Anyway, having said that, let's see what Cenk has to say.
And you two, you do not want to full screen your shit. You are shitty. All right, hold on. Let me do this real quick. And then we can turn it up too. So then we can hear what they have to say. Oh yeah. This is a little goof. Yeah. Yeah, look at you.
Here's Morgan today.
Palestinian didn't listen to commands from hostile occupied forces. From hostile, yeah, this like they didn't listen to the commands of like, yeah, people literally occupying them and anything like that. So we'll bomb like churches, hospitals, schools, and stuff. Because why not?
Welcome back to Uncensored Live from New York City. Pro-Palestinian protests since the Hamas terror attacks of October the 7th have highlighted a chasm between progressives and the Jewish community. Marches this weekend faced criticism and police inquiries for pro-Hamas chants and banners.
Oh, you got it. They wrote his last name wrong.
Wait, what? Oh my god, they did! Dude, they spelled his last name wrong.
Anti-Semitism. Lefty claiming Israel was entirely responsible. Climate activists.
It's Uyghur with a Y, not a E. Or not a Y, not a U, not a E.
Some commentators to ask,
oh my god.
Progressives and the left seem to stand by all minorities, except it appears Jewish people.
Oh god. Oh, that's so fucked up. Oh god. Oh, this is so bad.
I love that. It's so fucked up, I love it. Yo, these lolly progressives are safe. They seem to be, you know, standing up for any minority, except Jewish people. It's like, what? Like, I mean, in what fucking world does that exist? Because, I mean, I have, like, I mean, what? Man, that's just so, just the way that is framed right off the bat, dude.
The Young Turks, a Democratic presidential hopeful, and that's Cenk Uygur. Cenk, great to have you on the program. Thank you very much for joining me. I've been following your tweets with interest this week. You've been getting increasingly angry, I think it'd be fair to say. You said, I'm now enormously frustrated by US and Israeli government's barbaric acts in Gaza. I will not... Dude,
if Cenk puffs his chest out any further, he's going to be popping some more buttons off that, you know, shirt of his, dude. It's just so like... Dude, like, Cenk is such, like, a big, beefy, barrel-chested dude. I don't really think he's, like, you know, schwal or anything. He's just, like, so barrel-chested. He's just, like, this fucking beefcake of a dude.
I am sharing that opinion.
It's not really fat. It's just chunky.
As Morgan showed big today. Why are you so frustrated?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I didn't expect the framing that you put on this segment, and it's framing like that. That's disgusting. So I don't see what this has anything to do with anti-Semitism. I formed Young Turks and TYT with two Jewish friends who are some of my We've known each other and been brothers for over 40 years now. So I think what Hamas did is disgusting. I cry for those Israeli innocent civilians. But do I see you guys crying for Palestinians? I mean, Chris Christie was just on here treating it like it's no big deal because what, Palestinian lives don't matter?
The Krispy Kreme was on here as well. I didn't even, it's like when I was here kind of listening to this, I didn't hear that part.
The real bigotry here is saying that Palestinians, we can kill 3 times as many of them already. And this
now I'm kind of curious, like, so what did Chris Christie say on here?
Appetizer, Netanyahu and his barbaric government have not even started the entree of murder and death and mayhem they're about to do. And that's somehow okay.
Damn,
killing 3 times.
I know, dude. Like, that's kind of what. That's why I kind of pulled this up because Hassan doesn't really say much here. Like I'm gonna be saying a lot of stuff here, but like I mean, honestly, he is cooking. He's overtly calling Netanyahu's government barbaric, like, and calling this is only the appetizer of barbarism, like this like the appetizer of savagery, that is going to be with the entree of barbarism and an onslaught of destruction. It's like, damn, dude. It's kind of poetically spitting in a way, honestly. I mean, I will admit he probably might have, prepped that one, but you know what? I'm going to grant it a pass.
Palestinian civilians, let alone the occupation, which is bigotry by definition. We say that everyone in the world can defend themselves, can have their own state, can have sovereignty, except the Palestinians. And the reasoning behind that is the Palestinians are what? They're what? The idea is that they are savages, and that Muslims are too violent and cannot control themselves, so they must be occupied for 56 brutal, disgusting years. So I've had enough of the bigotry against Muslims and Palestinians, and I need you to speak out against that instead of covering every outrageous, atrocious action of the right-wing government of Israel and going, oh, it's anti-Semitism. No, and there is global anti-Semitism. There's anti-Semitism here in this country. 2 synagogues were shot up, Pittsburgh and in Southern California. We fight against that all the time. But then whenever Israel is criticized, people go, oh, no, it's anti-Semitism. No, there's real anti-Semitism.
Damn, like, Cenk cooking, though. Like, I mean, and like I said, he's not really letting, Pierce get a word in edgewise. I mean, he's about to try, but, he's like, I mean, because what he's saying ain't wrong. I mean, like, at whatsoever. And in fact, I think he's, like, doing so in a way that I think is a lot more compelling for people. Because, I mean, granted, I mean, it is sensationalistic, but he's kind of, keeping it just straight to the point, very simplistic, in a sense, but also sensational enough, but on the other side of this, because, like, there's so much sensationalism about, about, like, oh, Hamas, blah, 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 and about all that shit, and about Palestinians, and broadly, yeah, Muslims too, just in general, and even to a far less extent, but it happens, because people are that retarded, even Sikhs and Hindus to an extent, because, oh, they wear turbans, so don't Muslim and bad it. So, it's like you got that going on too. It's like, so, yeah, I mean, a lot of this type of shit is, overtly due to just straight fucking bigotry. Like, because the thing is, you could criticize, like, religion, like, Islam or Judaism, Hinduism. Like, you could criticize religion, but you don't have to be a bigoted fuckwit against someone who happens to be religious, like a Muslim or something. Like, I'm not going to be bigoted against someone just because I don't like their religion. I think it sucks and stupid. Like, I mean, whatever. If you want to believe it, you do you, boo. Just don't be like an extremist or, or fundamentalist to the point where you want to shove it down my throat or be violent or, be some, like, evangelical, like a right-wing conservative type that, thinks that the gays ought to be, like, put back in a closet or killed or some shit. It's like, if you think that, then fuck you and your religion. Like, at that point, I ain't gonna give you the respect. But as long as you're chill, like, I mean, I don't care. I know plenty of people who are religious, Muslim, Christian, etc., that are chill as fuck, and I could give a fuck. Like, I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal to me if someone happens to be religious. I could still hate the religion and not like it and be anti-theistic, in that sense, through and through, but not look at someone who happens to be religious and think, fuck them, though. Because, like, that's just stupid. I mean, what's the context of how they conduct themselves, with that shit? Because if they're, going to be an extremist, fundamentalist, like, a group like Hamas, for example, then fuck them. Like, obviously, fuck Hamas. That's a no-brainer. But, you know, that's a two-way street, too, because the IDF is a Judaic fundamentalist organization that is interwoven as a military apparatus of the fucking Israeli government. Because they're a Judaic extremist, like, theocratic ethno-state. So, fuck them as well. Like, you know, it's a two-way street. Fuck both of them. Primarily because they use religion in a lot of ways to justify their fucking heinous bullshit. So fuck them. And like, I fuck anyone who does that shit. I don't give a fuck who they are and what religious background they're from. Like, anyone doing shit like that, you know, at least in this context, whether it's Hamas or the IDF, you know, and the Israeli government, like, regardless of, like, who the fuck is doing it, fuck them. Because they're the ones who are continuously and, you know, perpetuating the fucking violence and the bloodshed of innocent fucking people in the midst of all this shit. Like, you know, it's, I mean, it shouldn't really be such a controversial thing, but apparently it is.
Instead of attacking that, all you guys ever do is hide behind the veil of anti-Semitism. Do you know why Palestinians might not like Israelis? Because they've been oppressed for 56 straight years.
I hear you. And let me respond. I'm not you guys. I don't think I fit into any neat on this issue at all.
Dude, Piers Morgan is a fucking coward. Dude, he did this with Hassan. Like, I don't, you know, I'm a propagandist and this and that. Like, dude, he did the same fucking shit with Hassan, with Baham Yusuf. Dude, you notice the pattern of Piers, you know, since we've been watching him a little bit more frequently than lately, you know, than not lately. He does this, like, oh, well, I'm not affiliated, you know, with them. I'm my own individual, you know. You know, I'm my own free-thinking, you know, person. Like, he always walks it back, the fucking coward. He can't just own up to the fact, it's like, yeah, I'm a part of the mainstream apparatus. Like, you know, that I'm a part of, you know, the many talking heads that, you know, are, like, you can't just fucking be honest with it.
Always has to fucking go back to that.
I've actually covered this story, I think,
fucking coward.
Most people. I've had many pro-Palestinian voices I've given a huge platform for. They've been getting enormous
every time, dude. Every time my man's got a sidestep. Every time.
I've done that quite deliberately because I think these voices are.
Hey, Ignar, do you smell that? It smells kind of like a bitch. Why does anyone see your Piers Morgan? I always smell bitch because Piers is a bitch. Well, I say, whoa, I don't want to accidentally ban you or something. Oops, that would be sad. Does Venom have some snake oil for belly aches? I bought a lot of it, but it isn't working yet. Well, too bad he's, you know, moving to New Mexico. Shit, he's taking the snake oil elsewhere.
Important to be heard, including yours. I certainly wasn't accusing you, by the way, or your organisation of anti-Semitism. I have.
Piers, yeah, you were. You were, like, implicitly saying that. Not explicitly, but you implicitly said it at the beginning. Progressives, like a progressive organization like TYT, happens to be, you know, stand up for all minorities except Jewish people. You fucking said it implicitly. But because you didn't openly say it explicitly, you have now the opportunity to walk it back like a bitch. You know, because, oh, well, I wasn't saying you specifically, other people. Fucking coward, dude.
Identified as liberal myself.
Wait, what? No. Shut the fuck up, you Weasley little worm. You are a conservative. You fuck. Oh, like... Dude, what the fuck? Did he just call himself a liberal? Did Piers Morgan a liberal? That fucker's a conservative through and through, my dude. No, that is garbage, bro. That is... fucking what?
See people who call themselves liberals.
Big time lib, dude.
Whose instant response
such a lib
to me to one of the worst terror attacks we've ever seen was to immediately side with the place where these attacks have been launched from. Now, I don't tar all Palestinians with the brush of being Hamas at all. And in fact, the sooner Hamas are out of there, the better for the Palestinian people and the world. But I just think the only human response you can have is, as you did, by the way, to your credit, is it was disgusting what happened on October the 7th. Now, the question then becomes, what is a proportionate response by Israel? Not just the terror attacks of October the 7th, but obviously...
you know what? Like, I was listening to Kyle, like, have a long-ass fucking video about this or some shit, like he uploaded today. And he said it, and I kind of honestly agree a little bit. I mean, if, like, you know, the whole idea of, like, you know, hey, if Hamas did the attack that they did, and you want to retaliate against that, you know, here's what, like, basically Kyle said, and honestly, I kind of agree with it. I don't really have too many qualms, you know, about it. He says, like, do hard, you know, intelligence gathering work, you know, figure out the specifics of the individuals who are taking the operations and shit, who did the mass killings and who were the leaders of that operation, and do like intelligence gathering, and, you know, specifically, you know, like, you know, with open arms, you know, like, reach out to some of the, you know, Palestinian populace to be like, hey, we're trying to find these specific type of people, you know, and use, like, some sort of, like, aid or, you know, some sort of mutual aid type of thing, you know, to help, you know, in that sense. And then, which, of course, the Israeli government would literally never do that. And basically, you know, use that as a way to, you know, find or gather information, you know, at least as a part of that info gathering, to eventually do, like, a special forces operation to specifically target those type of people who were, you know, orchestrated the attack, you know, who are part of Hamas, specifically. So you could literally minimize or have no opportunity of, like, civilian casualties at that point. You know, like, that would actually make some sense. Of course, the Israeli government being basically practically Nazistic with their fucking bloodlust fervor, you know, over, you know, the, you know, like, cleansing of the Palestinian people and shit, they would never even consider such a thing. So the only other option in their mind is literally carpet bomb and fucking, like, white phosphorus the fuck out of Gaza and shit, and then just, like, you know, clean up, you know, with a ground invasion afterwards. Which, honestly, it's like, that could have some serious global fucking ramifications where, from my understand, like, even, like, you know, Syria's potentially, what are you doing, Zooks? Like, you know, where, like, Syria's potentially might have been, like, hit by, like, Israel in, like, the Golan Heights region, from my understanding, or some shit like that. Fucking, like, Iranian-backed forces, proxy forces in Iraq, like, apparently hit a U.S. base in retaliation and shit. So this, like, if the ground invasion were to happen, some shit would probably fucking pop off in that region. Like, it's even murmured that, like, Hezbollah and Lebanon probably would get involved. You know, so it's like, I mean, it would get fucked if they did that. I mean, and honestly, you know, that's probably why they haven't done the ground invasion yet, is because they're probably, you know, weighing the consequences out. And frankly, it doesn't seem like they give a fuck anyway. It seems like Netanyahu's government's pretty gung-ho about saying, fuck it, you know, and just like, let's just do it. Because it'll be a good distraction against all the corruption charges and all this other bullshit that he's facing, and the unpopularity of their current government, which, if anything, might actually collapse their government, in a sense. Like, because there are a lot of people outside of, like, conservative hardliners and shit that aren't exactly too happy with the current circumstances there. And, you know, they're kind of a little, you know, like, they're doing a lot of, like, protesting, considering, you know, the reaction of Netanyahu's government right now, all things considered. Because most people just want the hostages released. And the Israeli government has openly said that that's secondary. We're going to basically, you know, like, even if the hostages die, we don't give a fuck. We're gonna, like, take out Hamas first. Like, if civilians die, if hostages die, if kids die, we don't give a fuck. We're wiping them out. You know, it's like, consequences be damned. Like, the Israeli government has literally openly said this type of shit, and they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're practically like Nazis. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, they, like, honestly, like, I mean, it's like, to say that they're not fascistic would be insulting, like, you know, to someone's intelligence. And to say, you know, like, at the very minimal, I mean, and, like, to say that, you know, they're, like, not Nazistic would just also be insulting to one's intelligence. Like, and in fact, if I remember correctly, like, I think, like, some of the, like, I think there were, like, some elements of the current government where, like, some of their, like, parents or even, like, some of their family members actually have legit ties to, like, you know, people within the Nazi Party after World War II who fled to Germany, or who fled from Germany to Israel to kind of help, like, work out different, you know, plans about, like, you know, doing, like, secret police work and shit against Palestinians and Arabs there, you know, to get, you know, to kind of expand the whole Israeli state project. Like, if I remember, I think there was, like, a Polish Jew that went to Israel after its establishment. It literally brought, like, some of the, like, German, like, police units that were there as settlers in Poland, in the Polzan region, to basically Jewish Nazis. Yes, they did exist. Yes, Jewish Nazis existed. There were Jewish collaborators with the Nazi Party that basically worked in tandem with them, essentially hopes that they could get it out. Not all of them did, but some of them did, I guess. A lot of them did survive after the war, too. So, yeah, man, yeah, dude, yeah, it ain't humanity great? Ain't humanity awesome? Like, I mean, you could kind of see some elements of that, like, in movies like The Pianist, for example. Like, if you look at The Pianist, like, in the first half of the film, like, before, like, Spielman, it's like, has this, like, pretty much, like, Warsaw utterly destroyed and shit, like, when he's in the ghettos and stuff. Some of the, some of the people that are helping the Nazi guards, Jewish assistants, basically, where they would have, like, certain privileges granted to them, within the ghetto, or within, considering their, Jewish background, but would still be granted, like, certain privileges and, like, certain rights in comparison to other Jews that were in the ghetto. It was like an incentive for snitching. Snitches they get stitches, and they also get ditches, or gas chambers in this case, or shot, or just literally just straight shot. But, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of disgusting fucking history when it comes to, like, the Nazis. I mean, not just with them directly, but, like, what, like, some people did, to essentially try to get an out, or get certain privileges, with it, or get, like, certain favors from the Nazis, basically. Even fellow Jews. Like, World War II, that era of, like, humanity is just fucked. And honestly, so much of that is seen today. Like, I mean, because like I said, to bring it back, like, I mean, some of those, folks, did, go to Israel as well, once it was established. And some of them did bring in and hire as, like, contractors, or, it's like, or just, brought them over as, like, citizens themselves, to, like, help collaborate when it came to, like, oppressing Palestinian rights, because that shit's been going on even before Israel was a state. Like, I mean, there was a lot of tension and conflict, because during World War II, like, I mean, that Jerusalem was specifically kind of like, because I think at the time that was a British colony, so it was basically considered like a refugee status, for, Jews who are fleeing, from Nazi oppression, to at least go stay, and they could at least be safe. So after the war, that's kind of, at least in some part, how, that helped, grant their statehood there. At least in some part. I mean, there's obviously a lot more history to it than that, but that's at least, if you want to look at it from that, the World War II directly, at least that's in some part of how that happened. I guess we probably should have vetted some people. You know what I mean? We probably should have vetted some motherfuckers before having that officially established. You know what I mean? We probably should have, made sure some people weren't, total scumfucks.
A huge ongoing escalation in what has been, as you rightly say, a 56-year war, effectively, in varying degrees over that period. And that's where I think I'm struggling.
He's a coward who hides behind disproportionate response to be like, but they should keep doing ethnic cleansing.
Mass deaths of Palestinian
Get in there, Jake.
Civilians.
Rip him. Rip his ass. Rip his fucking ass. Call him a baboon in a suit.
The baboon suit.
Yes. So let's take it one at a time. First of all, as you rightly point out, on Young Turks, we covered the atrocious actions of Hamas right from the get-go, and we condemned it as fully as anyone can possibly condemn it. Because not only are they killing those poor...
Hey, so it's National Horror Movie Day. No one doing impromptu riff. Looks like there's some free ones on YouTube. I haven't seen them, though. I want to, but the problem is I'm a little nervous about it, because, like, reacting to free movies is always a hit and miss, because sometimes, like, some weird obscure fucking, like, production or label company will fucking, like, own the rights to, like, some stupid thing, or some shit. Like, I mean, It happened last time. I mean, it's why, like, so I want to, but it's like, man, I don't, like, it's not that I don't want to risk it for the biscuit, but it's like, I just don't want to have to go for that bullshit. That dumb Christmas movie. Yeah, it was like that weird devil Christmas movie or some shit. I see, yes. Yeah. That's kind of reason why, like, DFF doesn't really do them on YouTube anymore. I mean, because there's, like, honestly, it's just YouTube's copyright system. It's just retarded. Like, I mean, like, for some reason, they could have the original shit up there. But, Twitch, I was banned on Twitch, remember? Wait, we all have short-term memory? Like, dude, why do you think I'm back over here? Like, I'm banned on Twitch. I mean, StreamYards, if they have an app, make a new account. Get unbanned. Well, you know, it's been long enough. I probably could have hit up Twitch. Yeah, you know, yeah, I probably could, I guess. Undust the old Twitch account. They don't remember. Yeah, that probably could. Your bi, make use of that. Yeah, I could just say I'm like a bisexual, non-binary, male-presenting they-them or something. I don't know. I mean, you know, like if I really want to go hyper-woke, I could say that. Because, I mean, honestly, realistically, I mean, I could go like that and still be the way I am. Because, honestly, like, I mean, I don't give a fuck about gender anyway. Like, fuck gender. As far as I care, you know, it's whatever. Who gives a shit? It's a social construct anyway, so why did I don't give a fuck? So I guess by that logic, I'd be non-binary in that sense, but it's just, it's just because I just don't care enough. Non-binary, bisexual, furry who identifies as Jefferson Bezos. Yes, exactly.
Innocent Israelis that didn't do anything. Those little babies and the grandmothers. It's disgusting what they did. But on top of that, they're ruining the Palestinian cause. They've burned the moral high ground to cinders.
Oh God,
and then
I hate this.
It's just all like people of Muslim background like myself.
Hamas, like burnt the moral high ground. I don't really know if Hamas had really any moral high ground to begin with.
And then it unleashes this bigotry of anti-Muslim bigotry throughout the world that I'm sick of. So screw Hamas and their barbarism, okay? Now, in terms of a proper reaction, yes, you need to get those hostages out. So now let's look at I'm going to suggest what to actually do. I'm going to be constructive. But first, let's look at the unconstructive solution that Israel had. Dropping bombs on residential buildings. 50 ambulances have been hit. 10 out of 25 hospitals don't operate anymore. The incubators are about to run out of energy. There's 45 babies that might die today. The parents I just read on CNN are writing the names of the kids on their calves, on their legs, so that if they are killed in a bombing and they're mutilated, they could find their bodies. Imagine writing the name of your child on their legs so that you could find them in the rubble after Israel or any government drops a bomb on them. And I need the West to understand something. Bombs kill people. And do you know how they kill people? They incinerate them alive, or their heads explode. So
I mean, that's not exactly how their heads. Yeah, like so their heads specifically. Nothing else explodes. Okay.
What happened in Israel?
Go for the jugular. He really is. Hey, I mean, he definitely is. I mean, he could have been a little bit like more accurate about what happens. You know, like how bombs kill people. It literally just like, depending if you're like, you know, at the source of the impact, will pretty much like vaporize you into like blood dust, or like basically just kind of literally rip you apart. Yeah, Piers Morgan is just like, how the fuck I get out of this situation? Well, you know, that's all not good, Jake, but Hamas though, well, what about that? You know, it's like, Israel got right to fetch, so what? Jugular been, yeah, it's like, he not only did Cenk go for the jugular, it's been ripped the fuck out, dude.
It was a disaster and disgusting. But you have to be equally honest and equally outraged at the immorality of incinerating babies and grandmothers and aunts and uncles, which is what we're doing right now. America cannot keep sending aid for death and destruction. Enough of the occupation. End it today. End it today. It's monstrous. Okay, I'm going to get to the constructive solution.
Let me. I completely understand your passion. And your
Okay,
anger.
but you don't agree with him.
I understand your passion and everything, but you're anti-Semite. Fuck you, and you condone Hamas and everything they do.
I agree with him.
Yeah, it is Piers Morgan. Yes.
I, like you, want to see some resolution at the end of this horror that we're witnessing.
Come on, man. Don't when he condemns
How do you
Hamas.
get rid
No,
of Hamas
man. I've condemned Hamas
if
more
you
than he
don't
has.
do
Shut the
it
fuck
way
up. That's not what I'm
Israel
at.
are currently doing it? How do you actually eradicate
The fucking optics
what has
argument for the
become a
liberal West
nihilistic
is so stupid. Shut the fuck
ISIS-style
up.
terror group who've quite deliberately, in my estimation,
Hamas really lost
committed
its moral
an
high ground? What do you
outrage
mean?
of such appalling scale that they knew that this would
Palestinians
go
are being ethnically
Israel
cleansed.
into this kind of
The
response.
idea
So
that
why
like you
they
lend
did
any
that,
credence
what is
to
motivating
Hamas's
it?
actions being like representative of
These are all
Palestinians
questions
is
we don't know
ridiculous.
the answers to yet. But it seems to me that Israel could, if it's not careful, be being lured into a massive trap here. And I hope that is not the case. But I'm curious, how do you get rid of Hamas if you don't do it the way Israel is currently
See,
doing it, albeit
that's why.
with horrific collateral damage?
Oh my God, I kind of called it. It's like, it's like, how can you not do it without doing it the way they're doing it now? You had to basically cut off the wall and all that stuff, and basically make it so they can't get supplies, and just like literally carpet bomb the fuck out of everything. It's like, that's how you do it. What I say?
In the face of thousands of innocent Palestinians being caught up in the bombing.
Yeah, just caught up in it. That's all.
Short-term answer, long-term answer. And a lot of people are not going to like these, but these are realistic ways that you minimize civilian casualties. You do what America did with the Osama bin Laden raid. We didn't go drop a nuke on Pakistan. We didn't go destroy 6,000 residential buildings.
Oh, I don't agree with
Pakistan.
that.
We sent in special forces.
That's
Is it more
insane.
dangerous to the special forces? Of
Did he just
course.
say
That's
we
the
should do
point.
FJ?
Oh shit. He pulled out, of course. But he didn't do, of course. He did, of course. But it was still, he pulled it out. Oh shit.
Man, we should
The
do
classic Jink meme, dude. Of course.
Trying to
Afghanistan.
find the hostages.
What the
Does
fuck?
it look like Israel's trying to find the hostages? If I have a family member,
I mean, like, I guess it would be better, but I mean, I don't necessarily completely agree with it, but it would definitely be better, and I can at least be like, well, at least they're specifically targeting Hamas with that, but like they're not. So, no.
it's a hostage. I'm disgusted by what Netanyahu's doing now. How do you know they're not in the buildings you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the tunnels you're dropping bombs on? How do you know
They don't care.
they're not in the hospitals you're dropping bombs on? So if you want the hostages rescued, every rational human being can agree this is not the way to do it. This is the way to do death and destruction for the sake of death and destruction. It's collective punishment. It's genocide against Palestinians, and the world has to speak out. So my way.
Oh,
is
he's
not
talking about the raid in
pleasant. It involves a lot
Pakistan.
of
Okay, got it.
folks dying on both sides. I understand that. Those are super hard choices. But go find Hamas. Go find the hostages.
Okay, he's
go
right.
rescue them.
He's right.
Instead of wantingly, indiscriminately, killing after killing. And let's be honest, when you drop a bomb and a kid's head explodes and a grandmother is incinerated, that is terrorism. Killing three times as many civilians as Hamas is terrorism.
3 times.
And it's the same if it is done by a government. Send in as many special forces you got. We should send in whatever you got to actually do the job at hand instead of what Netanyahu is doing, which is to kill these people to what? Send a message. And think about how unrealistic that is. And think about why his method has a 0% chance of working. How are the Palestinians supposed to rise up against Hamas? How would they prove they're against Hamas? Hamas ended all elections. Hamas ended democracy.
That's not true.
How are the Palestinians supposed to cry uncle?
He's not right about
They're
that.
already
I mean, kind of is.
crying uncle.
They've never been able to hold elections without Israel and America's telling them to do so.
More babies.
I mean, that's a part of it, but like, I mean, Hamas also kind of like in tandem with that too. Like, it's kind of like a three-way fuckery, to the Palestinian people in that way. Like, I mean, he's not entirely wrong. Well, I mean,
that's what his answer is.
I mean, neither of them are necessarily wrong. I mean, it's just like, it's not really one or the other.
United States of America, I'm running for president here. There's no way in the world I would allow this. sending $105 billion. And it doesn't even go to Israel, Ukraine, or Taiwan. It goes to the defense contractors that bribe these greedy American politicians and then get most of that money. And so the long-term answer is 1967 borders and the biggest walls you've ever seen in your entire life. And no one's allowed to cross them.
You never seen bigger walls than these. These are the most beautiful walls, the most tremendous walls, the best of walls.
But the Palestinians get their state. It is unconscionable for them not to get their state. And if you're a moral person, of course you believe that the Palestinians are not the only people in the world that can.
Damn, Israel gonna hire Trump for that? It won't make the Palestinians pay for it.
Themselves. If you say that, you are being, by definition, bigoted and a racist. We have to have two-state solution immediately. If 56 years of occupation and brutalizing these people is not enough, is 57 years going to be enough? Is 156 years going to be enough? I'm asking Israel, not out of hate, out of love. So many of my friends that I grew up with are Jewish. This is not good for them. This is not good for anybody. Please look into your hearts, look and be the moral people that I know you can be. I've been to Passover dinners where you pray for your oppressors. Now, it breaks my heart, but I got to tell you, you got to pray for those you are oppressing. And to say that you are not oppressing the Palestinians after brutalizing them for 56 long years, you're kidding yourself. And as a friend and an ally, I'm trying to get you to wake up and snap out of this trance. You cannot keep doing this. It is ruining your moral fiber.
Cenk, you go.
Damn. What, you disagree? We're popping off over there in the background, you little shit. What? Are you betraying me?
Very much indeed for joining me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yo, we're on that Uncle Pack.
I'm not even gonna lie though. Like, I mean, even though Cenk's been kind of like, flubbing lately, this was fire. Like, this was like a fucking banger of his. And honestly, like, I mean, what Hassan was saying, yeah, Uncle Pilled. A little bit. Yeah, I got a little Uncle Cenk Pilled on this one.
First appearance on this program under these circumstances.
I just burped from my nose. That hurt.
But I hope it won't be your last. I think you're an important voice in this, and I do appreciate you coming on the show.
Dude, dude,
Sukov, shut up.
I'm Uncle Pilled.
We found it. Oh my god. I'm going to build you a brother. Oh my god, he has a fucking Yama. Oh my god, dude. What the fuck is this? Jesus Christ. Oh my god, he has a goddamn yarmulke on his head. Holy shit. Uncle Pilled sounds questionable out of context. Just embrace it. Hey, if it sounds questionable out of context, then so be it. So be it then. Sukov. Swear to God. Swear to God, you little bitch. Yeah, my uncle pilled me too. Tears roll down the cheek. You pilled me too, man. It wasn't good. Here, Here. I want to see what other little things we could look at that could be kind of a little fun. Sukov, what is going on? Is it? Does he just want to like go outside or something? Is that it? Just waiting for Trump's 2024 policy platform to be, forget the wall. We're going to build an even bigger, more beautiful wall. It's going to be a dome. In fact, fuck a wall. We're going to do the dome. The fucking dome. Tremendous. How this feels sometimes. Being dead inside, but but your best friend needs emotional support. True. Hell yeah. I like it. I could dig it. the Texas Dome, keep all the crazy Texas people in. Dude, that would be nice. Can we honestly have that? That would be amazing. And Florida too. Need to do that for Florida as well. Here, see what we can look at, y'all. It's like Stephen King's story, Under the Dome, or like that Simpsons movie where they're under that dome. We need a Bugs Bunny, Florida, Yeetus, Deletus. Yeah, just take that shit out. Well, you know, the climate change is going to do that for us eventually. It's just going to eventually just yeet that shit out of, you know, into the sea. So, I think it'll be okay. Just give it enough time. We'll just have to force them to stay there. They're not allowed to migrate out. We'll let the good ones in. They'll have to, like, do some sort of, like, you know, proper, like, test of some sort. I don't know what, but they'll have to. We'll have to figure it out. I saw an invasion map of the U.S. recently, and holy shit, Florida's even worse than I thought. Here, let me go to this channel. See what we can find on Kyle's thing. You know, at least something worth checking out. Not really much, meh. Aside, I guess the usual stupid bullshit. Simple test, show them a photo of a teacher of an LGBTQ pin and ask them what they say. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. That actually would work perfectly. We cut out Florida in place of Australia. Now, I know the wildlife is concerning, but considering the amount of guns we have, it shouldn't be an issue. Oh, yeah. Especially considering the South specifically has a bunch of guns. We basically have like a wall of guns, you know, to protect us from that. So I think it would be okay. Those that say, that there is communism, and that is just nothing but groomer bullshit right there. Tell you what, brother. Yeah, they just get yeetist. Yeetist, deletist. I tell you what. Fuck 'em. Fuck my all, I tell you what. I would trade that any day. I mean, Australia ain't necessarily really awesome, but, you know, definitely would be way better than fucking Florida. We get kangaroos. Yeah, we'll just have them, you know, join us, you know, and, you know, we'll integrate with kangaroos, and we'll show them marijuana, and they'll be all chill as fuck, and hell yeah. New Zealand build a wall around Florida. Let New Zealand build a wall around Florida? Well, they already have the water, so would have picked Italy, but yeah, they kind of have like a weird fascist freako. Yeah, that's there, so. Yeah, nah, fuck that guy. Yeah. Well, fuck that bitch, actually, but yeah, no. France. Yeah, maybe their energy of, like, being, like, you know, a fucking, like, you know, rebellious fucking people will actually help us. So. That'd actually be nice. Fuck yeah. I'd want that shit. Oh my god. YouTube, can we just, like, not recommend me fucking, like, Israel shit anymore, please? Oh, France lands too nationalistic, for that to work, though. Yeah, they kind of, well, yeah, I guess. Guess also be more like Canada having a French-speaking state. That would be true. Well, I guess we would have multiple states, because France would probably be split up a little bit, if that's the case. Though I just realized, would it even fit? Because, like, Cuba might get gobbled up. Might just get, like... Just like gobbled. Or does it just become like a major fucking like, you know, mountain range all of a sudden? Is that what happens? French Gap, Texas also. I don't think I want to like really like succumb anybody to fucking Texas. I don't really want to know if I want to do that to anybody. It just seems like a terrible time. Florida's okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to give anyone Florida either. I mean, honestly, more so for Florida. Like, I don't want to give anyone that at all. Like, Texas could probably, like, you know, be okay with Italy or some shit. I mean, you know, because they probably share enough politics with each other now at this point. They'll probably be okay. Ugh. Wow, YouTube, you really suck right now. Holy shit. There's like, fuck all. Like, seriously. Why? Wow. Lame. Boo. Say sink him in the ocean, but I don't want to piss off the Atlanteans. Well, I feel like they're already waging war with them and looking to flood them all up anyway, so... I mean, I think they're trying to make Florida like the new water world. And you know what? If that's what they have to live, then fuck it. You know, whatever. They have to succumb to that. That's their problem, not mine. Wait, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Oh. Little ball. A little ball. Pretzel croissant. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Holy shit, that looks good. Got strawberries in there and everything. God damn, that looks nice. That looks good right there, I tell you what. Oh, wait, what the hell? Should minors transition? Liberals versus conservatives versus undecided? I'm surprised this wasn't recommended to me the other day. French. It's not the French, it's Dutch. You shut the fuck up. Croissant. Is it Dutch? I'm pretty sure that... Well, okay, maybe it's both. I don't know, whatever. I'm pretty sure that would be something like both. You know what? Since there's nothing better on YouTube right now, fuck it. I feel like this is going to be a goddamn nightmare. Wait, there's talk about antidepressants. New Love and Dating channel, and there's literally a booty. I like how, honestly, that's technically a peach, but everyone just kind of unanimously knows that's just booty. That's the booty emote. Oh boy, here we go. So I don't even want to get into this. There's comments on this. As a minor, absolutely not. As an adult, do whatever you want. What? Well, oh my god. Well, what does it mean specifically when it comes to transition as a minor, though? Like, are we talking like surgery, or are we talking about like other aspects, like social, like mental, sexual, like, you know, like hormonal, like transition, stuff like that? Because I mean, that I think is a lot more open to be okay with, especially social transition. Pretzels are German. Nazi motherfuckers. I knew there was a race. I never liked them. Well, honestly, I don't like pretzels that much because they're too salty. I like pretzel bread, but like, you know, those little like hard pretzels, I don't like those. But like pretzel bread, I like that. Like a pretzel croissant, or like, you know, something like that, or like, you know, those like carnival pretzel things or whatever. You know, those are okay, but like, you know, we have destroyed them. Except soft pretzels are all, yeah, the soft pretzels. What about combos? Well, It's just those like little hard pretzels, you know, like the soft pretzels, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, you know, whatever. Never been the biggest fan of them, but that's just me. Should have first true to me, John moderating, defending all people answering. Brings on a lot more. Oh my god, is there somebody else like coming button in? Oh wait, no, they actually do, I think, have a moderator here. Oh my god. Do they really actually have a moderator now? Because, like, the last few were really, like... Oh, my God. I like them chocolate covered. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Or, like, mint or something like that. Like, the, you know, ooh.
Antidepressants weren't working. We'd been to every single therapist, and nothing was touching it until we used he, him pronouns.
I don't even know where to start here. Sex is not assigned at birth. It's established at conception. We have to get to biology here.
Today, we're bringing a new version of Middle Ground. We'll be exploring the topic, should minors be allowed to medically transition? We'll be introducing an undecided group, and they'll be listening to a discussion between liberals and conservatives, and the undecided group will pick a side after each prompt. Transitioning has become a social media trend.
Absolutely agree. I mean, it is just skyrocketing, the amount of children that you see falling into this, and we need to stop.
Oh, my God. No. It's normalization and encouraging, you know, kids who might feel, you know, I guess for lack of a better word, a little queer about, like, their, you know, identity. Like, it's meant to make him feel a little more comfortable to feel like, hey, you know, maybe I can explore this a little bit and see if this is actually how I feel and shit. Because, you know, like, that's kind of the whole point. And, you know, for a lot of kids, obviously they're going to feel more comfortable probably expressing themselves that way if they at least, you know, feel more comfortable in an environment that is safe for that. So... that's not really a trend. It's like saying that, like, you know, people writing left-handed like me, you know, was a trend for a while, but that's like, but you can look at that. The same thing when it comes to a lot of other factors, you know, a lot of other things, like when it comes to gay people too, you know, just in general, you know, not just trans people, like there, you know, was like a big whoop, you know, but then it kind of starts stagnating a little bit, you know. It's like, because once you start normalizing, you know, those type of things, or like certain social behaviors and this and that and shit, a lot of those like behaviors will, you know, spike up a lot because a lot of people feel more comfortable to express it, and then it will kind of stagnate and maybe even teeter off a little bit because, like, you know, it's been normalized and it's not that big of a deal. No one cares, you know. So it's like, and like I said, it might teeter off just a little because there, you know, to a certain extent, there might be some people that might dabble into, you know, certain things, like maybe being, you know, like, you know, like homosexual or even trans in this context, and might realize, like, hey, I'm not 100% this, you know, might be something different, which is fine. Like, the whole point of normalization of these type of things is that, you know, hey, there might even be people out there that might not totally be trans, but, you know, might go through some of that process and realize, hey, this ain't 100% for me, and might, you know, just be more of an alternative, you know, expression of their gender instead, you know, like, you know, so there obviously can be various different factors at play. And that's just right off the bat. I mean, oh my God, I can already tell this is going to be a fucking nightmare.
Absolutely not. People said the same thing about people coming out being lesbian, gay, or bisexual as it got more normalized. As
exactly. Well, this, oh my God, I can already tell this is, yeah, this is going to, yeah,
and more accepting of like their children and things like that. They're like, everybody wants to be gay. Now social media is around, people my age, like we see other trans people, and being aware that that's something that's being accepted by other people makes you more comfortable with
this. Is literally pretty much exactly what I just said.
And like comfortable with like internalizing that it's okay to be trans in public.
I think you're falling prey to the survivorship bias, which is just sort of, you're overlooking all of the cases of people who either weren't able to come out because they weren't comfortable or safe to do so.
That's more confirmation bias, not survivalist. Like confirmation bias in a sense, well, hey, these people, you know, might have been a little quirky, but they never had to do this weird shit stuff because, you know, it ain't a thing. It's just a weird trend. So, eh. Like, I mean, it's more of a confirmation bias, not a survivalist bias, but.
Or they either died due to suicide or other mental health reasons. But over time, if you look at left-handedness, that skyrocketed in a similar rate as people became more accepting to it.
I challenge.
What the fuck? Dude, why are, like, these people making me... I swear to fucking God I did not watch this. Like, like, what the fuck? They're making the same points I just made. Like, what the fuck? I mean, well, good. I mean, it actually is good. But, I mean, like... What the fuck? I mean, I swear to God I did not watch this ahead of time. Like, I mean, oh my God. Okay, that is throwing me for a loop a little bit. Like, a lot of the shit that I just started off with, these motherfuckers are doing, like, I think it's just an easy go-to example. Well, yeah, I think it is, but still, it's like, God damn it. I need to think of more complex examples.
Reject that, but
let me ask you something. If that's the case, if more people are transitioning simply
oh my God! Yo, I remember her. It's Sarah. Yo, she's also trans. And oh my God. Oh shit, yo. I remember her from the last one. What's up, Sarah?
As it's more acceptable, then how can your side also say that there's a trans genocide happening? Those are completely opposite. No, I know you didn't, but liberals say that all the time. They're saying that there's a trans genocide for some reason. So I'm just curious as to how you would square that circle.
Can we define what the trans genocide, I guess, narrative is as raised by her?
I would like her to answer that because she's the one that brought it up.
Yeah, because so we hear people saying simply because legislation is being passed across the country that is banning minors from being able to transition, that automatically means that those...
that's not just what's going on. That's dishonest of you. So, like, you know that ain't the only thing that's happening. Like, there's a lot of anti-trans legislation that is also not just hitting minors, but also adults. And also, there's a lot of, you know, anti-trans legislation that are, like, bathroom bills and... like book bannings and shit like that. There's a lot of different bills that are not just about minors, because minors can't experience gender dysphoria. Yeah, it's like, and this is also kind of another weird thing that I don't know if anyone really has brought up before. But like, if an adult can make their own decisions and shit like this, right? And mysteriously, you know, when they're 18, they decide they want to be trans and shit, but, you know, for ungodly reasons or some shit, they just don't have the capacity to make that decision when they're not an adult and can't figure that out or understand that shit. It's like, do you think maybe the fact that if they're an adult and decided they wanted to be trans and shit, do you think it might be over the fact that they might have, like, you know, growing up, probably felt that way too as a kid? I mean, it's like, you know, there's a lot of things that obviously kids don't totally get and shit, but, you know, here's things that a kid might understand, or at least get, even if they don't really comprehend the complexity and the nuances of all of it, is themselves. Like, they understand themselves, and if they themselves, you know, feel uncomfortable in their own body for whatever reason, even if they don't totally understand why, like, they know that. Like, because, like, you know, the one person that knows, you know, like when it comes to, like, at least, you know, to make it easy, like, you know, the only person that knows my body most is me. Same thing for you. Like, the only person that knows your body and who you are the most is yourself. Like, I mean, so it's like, you know, and that is also when you're a fucking kid. Like, you might not comprehend or understand all the complexities and nuances as to why, you know, growing up, you know, but that's why there's things like education, you know, to help you understand those things. And that includes, you know, not limited to, you know, things like being trans or being gay, or like, you know, maybe liking certain things that might not necessarily conform with society, so to speak. Like, you know, if, you know, like, you like certain music, you know, in comparison to, like, you know, like mainstream pop or whatever, like, you know, understand complexities as to why, you know, people have the behaviors that they do, and, you know, identify the way they do and express themselves the way they do. Like, you know, that's the whole, really fundamentally the point, you know, it's just normalizing that sense of expression. I mean, and trans people are just a part of that. I mean, because that's just one variable and one element to the whole complexity of human expression. I mean, and, like, why limit that? You know, like, because, I mean, yeah, I can understand the argument about, like, doing physical surgery stuff, on minors. I think that, could be, argued that, probably should withhold that until, like, their body's more developed. But at least when it comes to other aspects of transition, I think that's acceptable. I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that. But the thing is, either way, I think all of it can be open to conversation. I mean, and that's fine in a fair, honest, good faith topic about it. But, like, these motherfuckers, at least the conservatives, in this case, aren't. They're never honest about this shit. They never want to have a genuine, honest conversations about what, could be, viable, transition for a minor, when it comes to stuff. Because if, like, an adult feels like they're trans, then obviously they felt that way as a kid. So, what is, the best course of action for, children who, will be trans as adults because that's how they fucking feel and that's who they are. It's like, how do we best accommodate for that? And at the very minimal, social transition is at least the first step. And things like hormonal blockers and stuff like puberty blockers are, another step too. I mean, so there's at least, some basic steps that, can just, I think, are already kind of set in stone. But, like, there could, I think, arguably be, some things, about, like, can someone at 16 potentially have, like, surgery and stuff, or at least maybe a certain aspect of it, like maybe like a top surgery or something, and I think that's open, to discussion. I think maybe case by case, because, like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, if this is who they are and that's how they feel, then why withhold that from them? Again, why limit that? If that's how they want to express themselves, then let them. I mean, like I said, I'm not 100%, sure about, like, the whole surgery thing about minors and stuff, because I don't, I mean, obviously, at least, when it comes to, like, 16 or 17-year-olds, but, that's why I think a case-by-case scenario might be more of an acceptable idea. Like, anything younger than that, I mean, it's just better for their body to develop better, more, as an adult. Because I think, like, if we do it, at such a young age, I mean, there could genuinely be some, potential consequences, from their body still developing, via puberty and stuff like that, or via, their genuine, just regular body development as a juvenile. Like, so, I don't know what, like, would come from that, and I don't know if it would be a positive outcome, but I don't know. It's like, it's never been done, but, it's like, and I don't know what the efficacies of that would potentially be, if, like, a child was very, very fucking adamant about that, but I don't think that would be the case. At least, I'm not too sure. That's why I think it would be okay to have a conversation with it, but at least at a certain age, like, I definitely think there could be a cutoff. But at the end of the day, it's just because, like, it's more about, like, their body development, because, like, they're not, like, fully developed, completely. Like, I mean, like I said, I think it'll probably be, better in that sense, because then there could be less minimal ramifications potentially. It's more about just thinking about potential cons that could happen, and, like, negative aspects, like, symptoms, so to speak, that could happen from from a surgery like that. It's more about that, more so than anything. Or, like, safety of the patient, essentially.
Would commit suicide, and that is simply an abusive statement in of itself.
Statistically, a lot of minors who aren't able to transition, who would like to, do end up.
Why don't we have this? Why don't we have this? Why don't we have the same suicide rates in the past that if that was the case?
How could we have known that the people who were committing suicide were transgender if they didn't feel safe to come out?
When you look at, like, members of each generation that identify as LGBTQ or in that community, it's like less than 2%. And then for some reason, as soon as we get to Generation Z, it's 20%. Now,
yeah, because that's called normalization, buddy. We already talked about that.
You may argue, okay, this is just because it's more open, it's more accepting now. Everyone, it's okay to be that. But then,
okay, hold on. I'm gonna make it so my dog can go outside, because apparently that's what he wants. But I'm gonna make it so he can't escape from the side. Go outside. Or what? Alright, here you go. There you go. Fucking little turd. Now you can't go out in the front. You can go run her off in the back or whatever the fuck. I mean, goddamn, dog. Jesus. Anyway.
You guys will say that if you don't accept them, they're more likely to commit suicide or something. But it kind of sounds like a double-edged sword.
So that didn't sound double-edged to me.
That's not a double-edged sword, bro. Like, if you accept them, then they just are happy-go-lucky kids, and they're just being themselves, doing whatever kids do. Going outside, playing around, or, going to school, or riding their bike with their friends, or some shit, or playing video games. I don't fucking know or care. But, but if you don't accept them, then yeah, they're gonna feel isolated, insecure, and ostracized in a sense, and depressed. And it's not a double-edged sword, you fucking goober.
It sounded pretty accurate. Like, if you're not accepting of somebody, they're more likely to be self-hating. Like, if you're telling somebody that they're not allowed to do something, they shouldn't do something, they're not fitting into their own body, especially experiencing dysphoria in itself, it's a mental battle in general.
So to clarify your point, I think you're saying that...
I just realized this yellow bar is the time length of how long this segment is. That's kind of cool. I'm not too sure how I feel about this moderator being here, though. I really don't know how I feel about that. But whatever.
What's leading to, is that right?
It's a mixture between...
I mean, I feel like I'm more, maybe, they should let the people come forward, who are liberal or conservative that might agree or disagree with that anyway. Like they were doing, but still have the undecideds, stay back until they fully decide. But maybe the moderator could be fine, but I mean, I feel like he needs to just let him cook.
It's outer acceptance. It's the conversation between nature and nurture.
See, here's the problem with that. There's two longitudinal studies alone that I could cite. In Sweden, from 1973 to 2003, they looked at a large number of subjects who had before transition and after transition, and they had...
Oh my god. Oh, fuck. I know what he's talking about. Holy shit. I forgot the exact name of it, but I remember I think it was Vosh I was looking at, or who was it? It was either Vosh or it was somebody, but I remember someone overlooking some of this information and stuff about when it comes to retransitioning, and Sweden was mentioned about retransition rates and stuff, and and basically the only thing that really came out that was somewhat high was I think 2% of people who transitioned regret it, and it wasn't really conclusive of how many of them retransitioned. It just said that they might have regretted at least some aspects of it, not all, not entirely, but at least regret it in some way. Which that could probably mean I couldn't maybe I went I couldn't. It's maybe a lot of that could probably just mean it's I transitioned too much into what I feel comfortable with, or it didn't really turn out the way I exactly was wanting to perceive for myself, so it's I have to kind of take extra steps and this and that, blah blah. I mean, it could mean different things, at the end of the day, but I mean, it's it never really conclusified about how many of them retransit or untransitioned. Or I guess retransition or whatever. And I know at least for at least some place in Denmark or the UK or even in US, it doesn't really go beyond 1%. It might go 0.5% or 0.6, 0.4. It's usually around there. It's not a high percentile range. It's very, very tiny. And in comparison to all the people that do transition, that is very negligible. And a lot of the reasons that people cite when it comes to that is usually because of either social stigmatization, curiously enough, you weird fucking Terran Empire evil looking Picard fuck, or due to privatization of healthcare because they can't afford it. They can't afford the transition care and stuff like that. So because they can't afford it, then they can't continue to transition, so they kind of have to retransition, but not necessarily by choice. So, and really, at least, for those two reasons, it's not totally by choice. It's usually kind of forced on them, either because of social stigma and bigotry, or due to financial reasons. And sometimes it could even be both.
worse comorbidities, they had worse mental health issues. Sweden is a very tolerant, liberal, progressive country. A study this year, published in Denmark, 2023, 42-year longitudinal study, and what they found is that the mental health issues did not decline, they actually were augmented. It was worse for individuals who thought that by transitioning they would solve their mental health issues. It actually got worse. It doesn't help, it doesn't solve these issues. It shows that
care to cite the specific sources or anything there, buddy? Like, at least when it comes to the percentiles and everything, like, because, like, I would imagine, like, if their mental health got worse, it could probably be due to other reasons. Like, just because they happen to be transitioning and maybe their mental health got worse, like, the causation, like, I mean, oh my god. It's like, you know, it's not, you know, like, causation of, like, one thing somehow, like, is the conclusion that it affects something completely, you know, different in a sense. It's like, it's basically like saying, like, oh, you know, it's like, I mean, it's basically like saying, like, oh, hey, you threw this, you know, like, rock in the river and shit, but, like, you know, that somehow, like, you know, fucking, disturbed this, like, you know, fucking, like, you know, garbs of shit and, like, unleash this fucking, you know, like, you know, like a whole murder case of shit. And it's like, no, that's like, it's not like some weird, like, hyper cause and effect type of shit or some shit, dude. It's like, you know, it could be, you know, a totally different thing. I mean, like, what the fuck?
Contagion, that is the key word.
Let's pause there then. What are your guys' thoughts on, let's say, that's a pretty popular figure that's been mentioned when it comes to a social media influencer that has risen to fame because of that?
She's just doing what she's doing. I don't think that she's doing anything wrong.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure they might be talking about Dylan Mulvaney.
I think that has...
Her pronouns are she, her.
That's transphobic.
Do you think that has inspired trans kids?
I think she's also inspired allies to see the human being behind the pronouns and the makeup and the dress, and to see that there's someone who is going through a story, and that watching her go through that story enabled us to see the humanity behind her.
He is degrading women. You see a
shut up.
Great disregard. I mean, look at the product that he was supposed to be promoting. It has fallen into.
Her pronouns are she, her.
And with all due respect,
to me,
it
like,
isn't
the people who are
phobic to
following
speak
them are
the
y'all
truth.
and not the youth.
Okay.
That's not a phobia.
Let's
Telling
stop
the
here.
truth is not a phobia.
Let's stop here
It's not a
and
mental
let's go over to the undecided group. All right, so undecided group. You guys are kind of like the comment section. Which side did you resonate with most? Liberals or conservatives? So why did you resonate most with the liberal group?
Trends pass. Trends end. So calling it a trend is saying that these people's identities are just going to go away. And I don't think that's fair. Why do you think that it's not transphobic to misgender?
Because the concept of misgendering is false. There are two sexes. There's male and female.
Oh my god. Oh, you're a fucking moron. I hate people like this. Like, oh, you know, there's only two sexes. It's like, what? Okay, first of all, if that's not even true, there's like intersex, and that could vary in different forms as well. Because, like, I mean, that's something you learn in fucking biology class, for fuck's sake. I learned that in goddamn sophomore year. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. And that, and like, you know, like, in gender is a totally different thing from, you know, biological sex, bitch. So, like, I mean, I hate people like this so fucking much.
It's in the chromosomes. It goes beyond superficial or secondary characteristics. He is a male. He was born a male. He will remain a male. It doesn't matter how many chemicals he puts into his body or how many body parts are cut off. And I'll say this again. Telling the truth is not a mental illness.
Do you have a response to that?
Yeah, I think that there is a difference between sex and gender, and I know you're going to disagree with me.
Yeah, because there literally is objectively a difference. It's a fucking fact that there's a difference. Like, that's just basic reality.
Transgender is its own thing, and she can be. See, no, don't try to blame that on me. You are using the wrong pronouns for this woman, and you're trying to influence something.
Do you have a specific question that you'd like to ask the liberal group?
I would just like to hear more from them, because I feel like it was very one-sided.
Thank you. Okay. So you sat more on the conservative side. Do you want to
oh my god, what a dork.
Explain why you decided to come here?
Yeah, so I think, it is just...
Bruh, my gaydar is going off so hard on you right now, and you agree with the conservatives more?
Actual that there are more people transitioning, or at least coming out, not even just as transgender, but just, within the LGBTQ community as a whole. And so I do see, I think for me, it does become a little bit grayer when you start to say, okay, is that because people are being influenced to transition, or is it because it's more accepting and people are feeling more open and safe about coming out? And I think, when you're...
Yeah, for the most part, yes. Are there maybe a niche exceptional few out there that, probably are doing it as a little weird trend, or, just doing it for, for fun because they, just want to or some shit? I'm sure there probably are, but most people are doing that because they feel more comfortable expressing themselves that way because that's how they feel. So, yeah,
a friend group, or when you associate with certain people, I think you are likelier to maybe explore your gender a little bit more, or look more into those avenues, and I think that can influence someone to transition if...
Yeah, maybe so. Is that a problem? Yeah, maybe exploring your own gender a little bit, or exploring your gender identity broadly and shit like that. Yeah, that's not a bad thing. What's wrong with that? Yeah, that might maybe potentially lead to a conclusion that you might want to transition if that's how you feel at the end of the day. Not always, but that could potentially be a conclusion if that's how you feel. No shit.
Beforehand, that wouldn't have been a consideration.
Do you have a specific question that you'd like to ask either side?
Yeah, I guess I would like to ask, the liberal side, and I can't necessarily trace it back to a specific time when this happened, but I do think we have seen recently, a rise in people identifying with genders that aren't necessarily within a binary. Would you say that's a rise? How would you, account for that? I think...
social media. A lot of people have TikToks, Instagrams, shit like that. A lot of people have social media. So, fuck, I'm on it right now, literally on it right now. So it's a fuckload of people got social media and shit. And, yeah, that's probably it. A lot of people put themselves out there. I do. I'm guilty of it. A lot of people are. They just do it on different levels. Sometimes they don't do it on a way like I'm doing it. Some people do it just because they want to, post some shit on their Facebook or on their Twitter or their Instagram or whatever the fuck, or on their TikTok. They want to post a little, clip here and there or some shit. There's for every motherfucker on the street, for every 10 people that you see, there's probably one or two of them that have some baby little account with a couple hundred followers or some shit, that because they post some videos here and there about themselves or some shit, because that's kind of what I have here, it's a couple hundred followers, or at least a few hundred followers, just doing my own shit, it's I ain't necessarily no different. I'm just using YouTube as a platform, as social media in comparison to most people, so it's I ain't doing nothing no different in comparison to a lot of others. That's just it. That's really what it is right there. It's just social media. There's just a lot of different motherfuckers out there doing their thing, and depending on the platform, sometimes they're more easily accessible, so to speak, and sometimes they're not. But either way, they're out there doing their shit.
Earlier, that is just accounted by survivorship bias. People previously were not comfortable enough with coming out, and that's where that difference comes from. And eventually, that skyrocketing rate will even out.
I definitely do think that is kind of a factor of it, that, people are just coming out more and are feeling more accepted. I absolutely do believe that, that is a good that social media has done. But I do also kind of push back on the idea that it's just completely that. When you look at figures who, rise to prominence, for example, Dylan Mulvaney, these are people with huge platforms.
They didn't censor it that time. Oop.
That, are reaching.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, I knew they were talking about her.
Younger people who are at stages in their lives where, they are exploring ideas of gender and gender expression and identity. And so I guess personally, I would push back a little bit against the idea that it's just people who, had it been more accepting in the past, they would have come out. I do think there is, a rise. I mean, I feel like the numbers just don't really account for it necessarily being just that group of people. I think there are people, especially youth, who are identifying more kind of on the gender spectrum or as transgender. That maybe what.
Well, maybe you should probably look into it a little more there, buddy, because you're just kind of wrong on that. You're just wrong for it.
So, you're the only undecided. Can you clarify why you still remain undecided?
Yeah, I think the reason I remained undecided was because although I appreciate the presentations of both sides and I see both their points, I was still a little bit
fence rider.
As far as what's like each opinion was on each side. So I would just be curious to ask the liberal side, is there any like evidence that you guys could present that would suggest that transitioning lowers the rate of suicide?
I would say on one hand,
oh my God, they're all like, I mean, I don't have any of it all, like immediately, but like I've seen like enough like videos about shit like this where there is at this point. And yes, it does. it does. It just like there's enough data about it out there that yes, it does. I mean, like I'm pretty sure if you literally just like Google does transitioning lower suicide rates amongst transgender people, and it's like I guarantee you like there would be some like first page results right there. Like I mean it's like there of course yes. I'm sure that at this point, I think there's like, like a few of them out there at this point.
That trans minors who are not able to medically transition when they do want to, their suicidality attempt rate is around 40%, and that drops to below 10% when they are able to transition. Moreover, if I wasn't able to transition and I didn't have any support in my life, I would probably kill myself.
The conservatives, you guys were
Jeez, just leave it hanging there.
Discussing social media contagion. Could you present any other like arena as far as other instances where we've seen social media have that influence on?
I'd love to add just every aspect of mainstream media. So CNN, like all mainstream news sources, when we talk about even like major corporations, we have Pride Month for God's sake, right? We have
oh my God, fuck off. There's literally like military like Remembrance Month, basically the month before in May. Like, and there's also like 2 federal holidays for veterans and troops and shit in that fucking month alone. So what are you talking? Like, fuck off.
Where all corporations, all major corporations, even the government, President Joe Biden.
Oh well, hey, guess what? A lot of those corporations don't give a fuck because, like, I mean, the problem with rainbow capitalism is that they only see it as a way to, like, expand their demographic of how many people they can fucking like make profit off of. Like, they don't give a shit.
Is putting a pride flag. It seems like every aspect of our like top dog, like, main people in society are promoting it, right? And then if you go down to like social media, everyone's promoting it, right? Each Instagram, maybe not Twitter anymore, or X now, but TikTok.
Oh, no, it's still Twitter. Fuck off. I'm not gonna call it. I ain't calling it that. I ain't calling it. I refuse to even. No. It's Twitter. Shut up.
There's trends, there's things that are happening where it is being promoted. And the fact that there's influencers, I think, is just...
And it's not, it ain't even being promoted on Twitter anymore, fuckface. Like, I mean, there's practically, like, blue checkmark Nazi fucking weirdos that, like, are vehemently, like, calling about it, and, like, how it's evil and depraved and the groomer and this and that and all this shit. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about, bro? What are you talking about?
Gender dysphoria is a mental illness.
It is a break with reality. I'll start it where I've said before. There are two...
Like, not in the sense of, like, it being, like, some sort of, like, mental illness, like, like, schizophrenia or some shit. It's like, a mental illness, like, on a level of, like, basically, like, I don't know, like, fucking, like, like, some, like, autism or some shit. It's not really, like, that severe. I mean, it's not, at least in my opinion, I don't really see, autism that being that, like, a severe, illness or divergency or whatever the fuck. I suppose, like, it's, spectral, so sometimes it can be. But, like, for the most part, it really isn't, though. Like, I mean, especially from my experience, at least. Especially being one. But, like, either way, though, it's like, it's kind of equivalent with that. It's just, like, basically, like, a form of neurodivergency when it comes to, like, that. I mean, it's not really necessarily inherently, like, an illness. It's just, like, it's just, a divergency of, like, like what would be considered, neurotypical, essentially. I mean, like, that's essentially, it's like what I would consider that. I mean, it's not really like an illness, and that, like, because it implies it needs to be like cured or some shit, and it really doesn't. Like, I mean, nor really should it have to. Like, I mean, it's just because it isn't. I mean, like, because if we're going to label when it comes to things like mental illness stuff, like, on that level, then, like, I mean, fuck, then, like, goddamn, just being ADHD is, like, basically being, like, fucking, like, just, like, ill in some way. And it's, like, not really, no.
It's determined not just by external characteristics, but by chromosomes. When somebody dies and is buried, and 400 years later, if they exhume the body and they test those bones, they're going to see that it's an XX or an XY, it's a male or a female. It's a mental issue, and you want to treat it that way. You treat it with counseling, with therapy, reflecting reality, helping the person to be comfortable with the sex that they're born with. Sex.
Or, be comfortable with who the fuck they want to be. It's like, I mean, because sometimes people just don't feel comfortable with their sex, biologically. Some people just don't. Like, get over it, you fucking baldy fuckhead.
Talk about that. It's calling it a mental illness.
Yes, I want to respond to your comment about bones and skeletons. I study bioanthropology, and actually they're moving in a direction where they're using terminology like assumed or estimated gender, because there is large overlap between the general sort of estimations. Also, no one's going to dig up someone's bones unless they've already consented to donating their skeleton somewhere. No one just goes grave robbing for that.
But that's irrelevant. Let's hear a little bit. The point is,
it's not exactly irrelevant there, bud. I mean, considering that we know for a fact that there's been plenty of different cultures that don't necessarily, adhere to a gender binary and have, like, third and fourth genders and shit like that, in different cultures, societies all over the world have, had those, type of expressions within their society and cultures, that does at least prove to some extent that people in the past didn't necessarily, adhere to their sex at birth. So, yeah, it would be, at least to a certain degree, safe to assume that not everybody that we, archaeologically dig up at, like, some archaeological site or some shit might necessarily be that way. I mean, it might depend on, like, what we understand and know of the culture and stuff. I mean, if we know that, those are factors at play, then, yeah, we might, consider that, like, they might not totally be, express themselves as a male if the bones happen to show them as, like, a male at birth or whatever the fuck. I mean, there's even, like, a Roman emperor or empress who, like, openly, was, like, in dresses and, identified as a woman and stuff like that. So, I mean, I forget exactly which emperor, because all of them were kind of quirky and weird. But, I mean, like, there was at least, one, or I think maybe even, like, a couple of them, that, were like that. So, I mean, obviously there's, like, people in times past that express themselves, that, are atypical of their biological sex and shit. So, it would be safe to assume that, like, sometimes, maybe what we understand and what we can discover and know about, like, what we dig up might not necessarily adhere to, like, their biological sex, when it comes to the bones that we dig up and shit. Which, wow, shocker, like, because we don't always have all the pieces of the puzzle, and some of that is just lost to time, because, yeah, we can't necessarily, like, look in the brains of these people who have been long dead for hundreds and hundreds of fucking years and shit, obviously, or thousands of years even. Like, we can't do that. So, we're never going to truly know that, but hey, that's fine. That's okay. Like, we can at least, guesstimate, with the knowledge that we do have. And sometimes, like, we realize that, hey, maybe some of these people weren't 100%, like, adhering to, like, what, they were born with.
No, it is relevant to point out that sex is determined at birth and it doesn't change.
But what's the point you're making with the skeleton example?
The point that it doesn't change even over long periods of time.
I'd like to hear a little bit more from...
Like, we obviously can, because we have, various different levels of surgery, and, again, there's also people who are intersex too. Like, I mean, that's also not necessarily being accounted for this either. Like, I mean, because, there's been people in times past that obviously were intersex as well. you know, where they're like born with both, you know, and shit. So it's like, I mean, you know, like, like these people have existed, and yet it's like, nah, the bones in the chromosomes say otherwise. It's like, I mean, it's like, bitch, that's not like, you know, what makes all of like man. It's like, yeah, like, I mean, what makes us is like inherently ingrained in a lot of our DNA, but you know, at the end of the day, who we are is in our head and how we want to express ourselves. Like, like, get over it, bitch.
If you're walking around life constantly being told something like what you're supposed to identify as and you feel other than, like, of course, as time goes on, you're going to feel worse and worse about that specific thing.
I don't think there's a reason to transition if you don't have a mental illness. Like, there's something wrong.
Sarah, are you saying that you have a mental illness because you're trans? I remember you from the last time. Like, I know you are.
Because you don't long hair.
Wow, that is so not a comparison.
No. So when you I mean when it's the opposite concept of gender or body dysmorphia. So when you look in the mirror and you see what's wrong with, like, you have an uncomfortability with your secondary sex characteristics, and so the treatment is to change that to match with what you want it to be. But I mean, he's right. You can't change your sex. But it's in the brain. You treat the body to help the brain. It's not any different. And honestly, I'm
Which, considering that, well, you might, hold on.
I don't think we should stick.
Okay, not saying it. But, like, considering that you're trans, then treating the body would be affirming to the gender that you identify as. Obviously, you would know that, wouldn't you?
As mental illness. That's the whole point is, you know, I have anxiety, PTSD from when I was in the military and everything else. I don't think we should be stigmatizing mental illnesses. And so I think that calling it for what it is just accepting that, and it actually helps with treatment and to what you're treating, because you're treating the brain. You have to go to a therapist. You have to go all of that. So I think it's no issue to call it. I think.
And when you treat the brain, you don't cut the body, though. I mean, if somebody has bulimia or anorexia, you treat the reason why they perceive themselves incorrectly. If somebody has dysmorphia, you don't say, well, just cut off a body part. But this is a complete violation of the Hippocratic Oath.
Gender dysphoria.
No, it ain't. Like, what? You don't even know what that means.
Mental health condition, and the treatment for this condition is to do a medical transition if that person chooses to have those procedures done. It won't go away with just a simple pill. It's gender dysphoria. It has nothing to do with sex and bones and your DNA.
Do you think children are capable of making that decision?
They can at least understand that they might be dysphoric, you know, and shit. Yes. Like, they might not be able to completely comprehend the idea and shit because they're still a kid and developing and learning and shit. But, yeah, they might have a general idea, like, you know, that gut intuition, so to speak, of, like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable the way I feel. I kind of want to, you know, like, express myself in a way that, you know, I'm not, you know, and I want to do that. So, like, yeah, maybe a kid might feel that way.
Pose a question. Homosexuality actually used to be considered as a mental illness. Do you think there's any correlation here with what's going on currently with the trans movement?
It has to do with the way you
yeah. At least when it comes to the stigmatization aspect of it, duh.
And again, I call it sex dysphoria because it's dysphoria of your sex, but it has to do with your secondary sex characteristics that you're presenting to society. You know, in a lot of regards, and even Deborah So wrote this in End of Gender, she actually advocated for this because the same hormone imbalance in the womb that causes more, you know, femininity and homosexuality seems to be very similarly tied to gender dysphoria as well. It's just it's a further step along the way. It's a further, you know, condition. And I agree where I use mental illness and mental health condition synonymously, essentially.
So I think what's interesting about this topic is that, you know, we need to consider both statistics as well as personal anecdotes. If you guys don't mind, do you want to share a little bit about your personal experiences with this particular topic?
Yeah, so I didn't even know that trans people existed until I was around like 19, I think. That information never came to me. I'm 25 right now. I didn't really realize I was trans until I was 22. And I started medically transitioning when I was 23. I've experienced depression for most of my life, probably since I was like 13 or so. And a lot of suicidal ideation throughout high school and early in college.
Weirdly enough, this kind of sounds like my friend's sister, because she transitioned, and while like, because I used to know her like all for high school and shit like that as a dude, but like I'm seeing it recently, and it's just like honestly the complete 180 is pretty crazy. In a good way, though. It's just like, because she seems a lot more happier, like, a lot more comfortable with, like, who she is and all that shit. It's just like, it's a crazy transition, of just like, of like how someone, you could just kind of feel that confidence, like, like reverberating off of them, you know what I mean? Like, because they just kind of feel happy with themselves, like, yeah, this is how I feel, and I'm glad, I'm happy, let me rock my shit out. Because I was just like, holy shit. It was kind of like, it was actually at this concert when I saw Beast in Black, because she likes him a lot too, and I was just like, well, holy fuck, damn. So it's, like, if anything, like, if I remember her, prior to all that, and yeah, she used to be a lot more of a reclusive person and be, a little bit more just kind of in the background. I used to see her, go to my work sometimes, like to grab stuff every here and there and stuff. But like, when she moved, like more in Portland, like more deeper in, like, she like that's kind of when she started to go for a transition process, basically when she moved out from her dad, because after her dad passed away, actually, from what I found out, weirdly enough. And like, because from my friend Tyler, actually, because he told me about that, and I was like, well, holy shit, damn. Which, there wasn't really too much somberness, to be frank, because he was kind of a Trumpy QAnoner conspiratorial psycho. Like, even my friend Tyler was, like, kind of worried he might pop off and do weird shit. So, if anything, it's like, yeah, he died not so long ago and stuff, yeah. So, but, anyway, he just kind of, like, moved on from it. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Inherited some of his rifles and stuff. He's got his Tavor now, and it's like, oh my god, I want to shoot that bad boy, honestly. Sounds fucking fun. But anyway, that's just a little side rant. But anyway, whatever.
But pretty much around the time I had, I guess, felt comfortable with my, like, where I'd gone and transitioning, that had largely decreased pretty much entirely.
And this is what's interesting, because I know when we talk about a lot of this stuff, every transsexual that I know that we started feeling dysphoria around the very time that we became self-aware, around the age of 4 years old. But yeah, I knew around the age of 4 that there was something different. I wanted to be the opposite sex. I knew I wasn't the opposite sex, but it was something that I wished, I could. I knew that there was something different.
Well, then why are you then? Wait, hold on. So, what the fuck, dude? She is so weird. She's like, oh, I don't want to be, a woman or the opposite sex, but it's just something I had to, though. It's like, what, so, what, huh? Like, what weird, like...
I tried to dress on at 4 years old and went from there, and then transitioned later in life when, I finally accepted it myself.
I'd be curious to hear your perspective as someone. I think you mentioned that you have kids that have transitioned.
Yes, I have that magical uterus. My third child came out at 11 and told us that he was a boy. He was assigned female at birth. And so he socially transitioned, obviously, because he was only 11. He is now an 18-year-old college university student and thriving. And then my youngest child came out as a trans girl at the age of 15. So I live this with my children. I made the trek to the emergency room with a suicide attempt and a suicide plan with each of my children.
Did at any point did your opinion on this as a gender dysphoria or a mental illness change as you've had actual kids that has transitioned?
My opinion hasn't changed. It's a mental health condition, but antidepressants weren't working. Before Mitchell came out, we tried everything. We'd been to every single therapist, and nothing was touching it until we used he/him pronouns. And that was all it took to make things better for him initially. And then we did the medical transition.
I don't even know where to start this. You're a fucking psychotic bitch. Ugh. I'm just a, like, you know, a Lex Luthor looking old man villain fuck, so, ugh.
Start here. It's like sex, again, sex is not assigned at birth, it's established at conception.
Oh my god, this guy annoys the fuck out of me so much.
And the second thing is, we're seeing like this move. I mean, you were mentioning the academic setting. Notice how the academic terms are changing, but this is a result of pressure. This is a result of societal pressure. That's what happened with homosexuality, by the way. Homosexuality was recognized as unhealthy behaviors. Now, what?
Oh my god, like, oh my, dude, is this guy like a fucking weird time warp from the fucking 70s or something? Like, go fuck yourself. Dude, this guy honestly wants to, like, gobble up all the dick, dude. Like, I mean, holy shit. He probably feels like he wants to have, like, you know, some long, voluptuous hair, some booba, and, like, gobble up all the dick, bro. Like, I mean, holy shit. You fucking freak, dude. Like, oh, yeah, you know, even homosexuality, even, yeah, still to this day, you know, considered, like, you know, unnatural, this and that, blah, blah. It's like, fuck off.
Illness or a deviant behavior or destructive behavior, that's a point of debate.
No, it's not. Fuck you. No, it ain't. Deviant behavior. Jesus Christ. What are you, like some sort of like fucking far-right Christian fascist? Who is this fucking Arthur fuck? They usually like, you know, have their socials or some shit in description. Does he have a YouTube channel or some shit? What's up? What's up with this fucker? Yeah, give me more. More! Featuring, yeah. Oh, he has the Instagram. Well, I'm not clicking it. You. Wait, what? Okay. Get back here. There we go.
It's an unhealthy behavior for sure, and certainly it's the case with transgenderism, somebody cutting off healthy body parts. We have seen numerous
what weird Jordan Peterson-esque verbiage is he using? Ugh. Shut up. Stop using this.
Now coming forward. They had severe health and mental problems like the ones that you've talked about. But we find that I have a friend, Kevin Witt. He's an outspoken activist. He's been on commercials to protect children from sex mutilation.
Oh my god, he sounds like such an upstanding character. Yes. Fuck off.
Abused as a kid. He was beaten by his dad. He was molested by older kids when he was in school. He struggled with identity issues. These are horrific traumas that...
And it sounds like he's now using that to grift, you know, being a piece of shit, and instead of coming to terms with his trauma and maybe, like, you know, and all that shit, like, you know, he decided to use that for nefarious purposes because he is kind of secretly a scumfuck. It's like, wow. And also, what a, like, weird way to, like, use your friend to be like, yes. Like, my friend Kevin, you know, it's just like, you know, he was, like, abused, bullied, molested, and all this other shit. And it's like, and he's an outspoken activist for mutilation, you know, against child mutilation that you purport for. So what, you're gonna be against him, huh? It's like, fuck you.
And not once did a counselor ever address those deeper issues. That's what needs to be happening.
Now let's actually hear from the undecided group. So undecided group, which side do you resonate with more? So, why did you choose the liberal side?
I do think it's a mental health condition. I don't like calling it an illness. Everyone has things they don't like about their bodies. I don't think we're calling everyone mentally ill.
Okay, honestly, I'm starting to wonder why she's in the undecided group. Like, I mean, because so far, she seems pretty okay.
It's interesting how you brought up conception and saying that gender is decided at conception because...
Sex is the term. That's what I said, not gender.
Well, you don't even know what the fuck gender is, so shut up, cue ball. And also, like, sex isn't, like, conceived of at fucking conception. Like, you do realize the reason why, like, dudes got the nips, men have nips and shit, like, is because, like, the body, or, like, the, you know, fetus and shit, when it's develops as a female up until the Y chromosome is activated. You know, and those fucking, you know, like, you know, DNA genes and all that shit, you know, once those genes are activated and shit, that's when that type of stuff starts developing. You know, like, so, and even then, sometimes, you know, shit malfunctions here and there. Hence why there's, like, intersex and shit. Like, sometimes, you know, shit doesn't always work out, you know, as planned or whatever the fuck.
Sex. Sorry. Sex is a side of conception because...
Established.
Okay. It's... Someone very close to me.
Yeah, gee, like, I mean, fuck off your weird semantic play, you fucking weirdo. Like, dude, everyone is just, what the fuck? Dude, I hate this author fuck, bro. Holy shit.
So, hearing it from...
Don't let the intrusive thoughts out. Don't let them out.
Who identifies trans themselves. You can talk about statistics and facts all day, but...
You know what? He has a red shirt. I'll say this. I mean, he should just be sent on an away mission in Star Trek and just be the first one to get obliterated by a fucking phaser, bro.
If you actually listen to people and what they're going through and their experience, I feel like it's just much deeper.
You were on the undecided in the previous prompt, but now it seems like you went on the conservative side. What changed and what argument spoke to you most?
To my knowledge, the American Psychological Association still categorizes gender dysphoria as a mental illness, so just to stay on the side of fact.
Probably because it's a little outdated and maybe it needs to be upgraded a little bit because, you know, hey, guess what? You know, when it comes to medical science, well, when it comes to just science in general, but at least especially when it comes to like medical science or, you know, science and psychology and stuff like that, hey, shit changes sometimes.
And at this time, what the experts are categorizing as, I'm going to obviously side with that side.
I feel like science is always changing its definitions,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
We used to drill heads inside to fix migraines. I'm curious if that will change your mind if that classification was taken away.
Well, to my knowledge, I think the American Psychological Association does intend to later categorize it under neurodivergence rather than mental illness, but it's also something that needs to be treated. When people with gender dysphoria go into get the diagnosis, they do have to go to a psychologist and get a prescription and this sort of stuff, so it's part of the process. So I understand that science is constantly an evolving field of study, but as to what we know now, I think I'd rather just stay safe and stay with what the facts say.
Do you feel...
Oh my god, what a fence rider.
Like, if they are to medically transition, that they need to go through a series or rounds of different psychiatric tests?
Well, in the case of children, I think that would be necessary just because this is, I know in some cases it can be reversible, but this is a life-changing decision.
So you brought up the word...
well, at least when it comes to minors, it is reversible because they don't go for surgeries or anything like that. If they decide later down the line that, hey, maybe this isn't 100% all for me, and decide to detransition to some extent, then, that's, fine. That's their prerogative if they want to do that. Oh my god, dude. Man, okay, for some reason, her being such a fucking fence rider is really irking me, and this dork here is also a fence rider now. I'm like, oh god.
Changing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm curious if there's any question that you'd like to ask either side, because that seems to be the big stipulation in this kind of debate here.
Well, I guess I would like to ask the liberals, did you see in your own lives, vast improvements? What did that look like, the vast improvements that you saw?
Well, Tammy obviously did, but she was saying it earlier. What do you mean? Were you not listening earlier?
Health was just largely improved. I was having a much easier time, I guess, making friends because I was more confident in my own identity.
My children's lives changed completely. It was like turning on a light switch. They brightened, they were more social, they excelled in school again after failing. They just completely transformed their lives.
Okay, that's very interesting.
You were on the conservative side, and now you're back on the undecided. You guys flip-flopped here. What's something that kind of brought you back into the middle here?
Yeah, I would say, I guess my main reason for being here is that I just am unclear as to, I guess the difference between something being a mental illness or mental condition. I know some people in the conversation said that they use them interchangeably. Some people said that they prefer to use the term mental condition rather than illness. I guess what kind of differentiates those things, if anything?
I think you just...
Maybe, I think, maybe to a certain degree it's just semantics. At least when it comes to just having, a broader conversation about it. Like, if someone just, like, happens to be using, like, illness or condition or whatever, I think at that point it's just semantics. I mean, in this case, not as much, because, like, they're, like, especially this Arthur fuck, I mean, he's really, really, like, just, like, adamant about, like, making sure, like, certain words are used, at least when it comes to, like, his words. Like, if someone happens to be, like, like asking, like what, he said or something, he's like, no, I said this. No, like, he is super seriously fucking adamant about, like, definitions and words and verbiage and shit. Which honestly makes me think this motherfucker really does know what the difference is between sex and gender. He just purposely, doesn't, like openly admit that because he's a dishonest fuckwit. Which honestly, most of them are. I don't know who this guy is, but like the other two, yeah, they're dishonest fucks. I just realized she's wearing a pin. What the fuck is she wearing? Detrans awareness? What? Oh my god, dude, that is so cringe. Ew, gross.
On the head there, changing the name of something doesn't change the fundamental reality that there's a problem, there's a mental health issue that the person has. It's a disorder. It's a break from reality. That's just a fact. The person is born male or female and thinks that they should be something else. Now, regardless of how.
Hey, it's like it's a thing, bitch. It seems like you can conveniently leave that out.
One treats that. The fact is, and I would submit, even from the comments from the liberal side, they recognize that it's an illness that needs to be treated.
I recognize that it needs treating, but it's not a break from reality. That's a psychosis.
Psychosis is a break from reality.
Exactly. A psychosis is a break from reality.
Which is a mental illness.
Gender dysphoria is not a psychosis.
But it is a break from reality because the person...
No, it's not. Like, literally, no, it ain't. Like, like how someone feels about themselves and how they, personally want to, like, express themselves as is not a break from fucking reality.
To be something.
That's like, you can't just deny someone's, reality of how they feel. Like, I mean, fuck off.
I think it's pretty clear. It's a disconnect between reality. You're born male, you're born female, but then your brain is...
Oh my god, I want to hit him with a fucking brick. Okay, I let the intrusive thoughts win, but whatever. Like, oh my god, I mean... God, did this author fuck? Holy shit, he's pissing me off.
Something else. The cool thing about this entire debate is that liberals for once agree that there's possibly a soul, right? They say, I was born...
What the fuck are you talking? Shut up! What is this? Oh, wow, what I love about this is that liberals might actually agree there might be a soul. Because, those damn liberals don't believe in souls. Like, give me a fuck off with this weird shit, bro. What? Oh my god, this is pain.
Or female, but something deep down, something in me is I'm actually this.
Dude, I like this guy. He hasn't really said much, but dude, his expressions is exactly how I feel. He's
reality is what is physical, and so if you are physically or biologically male or female, you don't need to change your body, you need to change what you're thinking.
Okay, let's go back to the on this side.
Oh my, never mind, whatever.
Yeah. Did that help clarify, or is there any additional questions that bring up?
I guess it kind of did. When I think of like a mental illness, it is something that like we treat, and so I guess in that regard, I don't know if it's necessarily a position. I mean, I feel like, we do talk about, people who are diagnosed with gender dysphoria, like you treat that with some, I think in many cases, I don't know if it's all the time, I'm sure it's not all the time, but in the majority of the cases, you treat that with some kind of transition, whether it's a medical or a social or both. And so...
Oh my god.
I mean,
Fuck off, Arthur.
Kind of that definition. I feel like, my way is that I feel like they both kind of
weird ass
with that.
orc ass goblin motherfucker looking weirdo.
I think it's a politically charged definition. I think it's like obviously how you interpret it and like what is treatment, what is proper treatment, what is included within a mental illness, what isn't. But I guess my takeaway, I think, is like, I think we, or at least the conversation.
The main reason why I still politically charged because conservative fucking dipshits, especially people like Arthur and like, other fucking conservative pundits, make it a fucking, major politically charged issue.
I think
that's the main reason why their kid
agree a lot more on kind of the general topic itself than maybe they might realize, but of course when you get to nitty gritty, I think that's where you get the division.
The medical community is pushing gender transitions for financial gain.
So I disagree. I mean, when I started going through my process of transitioning, I didn't feel pushed by any medical professional.
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know how much I could handle with this one anymore.
In fact, quite the opposite. A lot of hurdles and just like bureaucratic red tape sections I had to like work through. But it's not something that I think, in my experience, was pushed onto me at least.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. When I started my transition, it took over a year just for me to get to my 3rd doctor's appointment for us to actually like talking about.
Oh shit! I did not even expect that.
Things, and as far as cost goes, my insurance covered everything.
But they are still getting paid. Just the government or somebody else is paying them.
I mean, in comparison to a BBL, yeah, like
it's called privatized healthcare, and America sucks because of that. Like, I mean, oh my god, I feel like all this could be summed up in the fact that like our healthcare industry is privatized, and you know, regardless of like whether it's covered or not, some motherfucker's making money. Like, I mean, I don't really think, you know, like whether, you know, someone is specifically making money off of the, like, I mean, oh my god, I just think that is really what it could be rooted to. It's a privatized healthcare system, like just that. I mean, like, you know, because regardless of like whether someone's like transitioning or getting like chemo for cancer or really anything, like, I mean, someone's making money off of that shit because our healthcare system's fucked when it comes to that. I mean, that's really what this one, you know, this prompt, you know, could basically be summarized as. And I know it's not going to be fucking, you know, addressed at all, but, you know, we'll play a little more just to see if maybe it does.
Yeah, so here, but yeah.
I doubt it.
They're still getting paid and they're still getting financial. I actually think there's 3 different types of doctors. I think that there are people that are going out there and doing it for financial gain. We saw it in Vanderbilt. We saw it in so many other instances where they are doing it. We also see that they are manipulating the system. That's why we have a lot of detransitioners right now, and that's why we're seeing that community grow, is because they're manipulating patients, they're manipulating parents, and so this.
Press an X to doubt on that.
The third is, I don't know if it's ineptitude or if it's incompetence or laziness, but I think that there is a section, there's a group of mental health providers who simply right now, we want to cure everything with a pill. And so we see this not only in the trans community, but we see this in the SSRI community. We see this everybody.
I mean, basically the pharmaceutical industry.
It's being put.
Because, like, I mean, oh my god. Again, this could all be just summarized into the fact that our fucking healthcare system is a for-profit industry and it's fucked up and, that's basically what it could be summarized into.
Something, and we're not.
I mean, this transcends, well, no pun intended, you know, the whole like trans argument. Honestly, I mean, this goes beyond this whole topic.
Causes. It's one of the reasons why we're seeing a high comorbidity of like autism in the community. A lot of people that have autism are getting sucked into.
What? Like, this is like the shit that the NHS pushes. Like, the NHS is fucked up because, like, they basically treat, like, autism as, like, a disease, and they think, you know, like, a lot of people who are autistic are basically just, like, trans and shit. Like, they think, you know, trans people are, like, autistic, and, you know, because, like, yeah, they think, you know, trans people are, like, you know, some sort of an illness themselves, so, and by proxy, because of that, they're also, like, autistic, and that is also, like, it's a weird, like, bullshit fucking, like, honestly, like, I mean, you know, for what is good about the NHS, like, it kind of gets undermined because of that and other shit. All these other, you know, problems with the NHS too, but, like, that is certainly one of them. Like, I mean, what the fuck? This is like the talking point of, like, you know, fucking, like, piece of shit in the UK say. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, you're saying Turf Island talking point. It's like, go to England, you fucking bloke.
And they're not being treated for the autism, they're treating for gender dysphoria.
So one thing to...
What treatment for autism would there be, you fuckwit?
Consider...
Be curious to really see what that is. Fucking cunt.
The research on this is that apparently based on top or bottom surgeries, it can actually range from around $10,000 to $25,000 from male to female transitions to female to male transitions. And I think, you know, what both sides can probably agree on is that America is a for-profit healthcare industry.
Oh my god, leave it to the moderator to bring it up.
right? We don't have universal health care.
Yeah, and
anything to consider there.
So with the
socialized medicine,
with the Vanderbilt situation, she actually said because of Obamacare they have to pay for it, and so they're forcing
because it was mandated insurance plan.
Insurance companies to pay for it. So it became a big moneymaker, was her specific phrase that she said.
I just want to remind everyone that there are international standards of care, and there are many countries out there that have social medicine, and it's not all for profit.
Argentina and Denmark apparently are one of the 2 countries that has included, I believe, transitioning for minors in their private and public healthcare plans.
I'd like to comment, but I want to give you a chance first.
No, it's kind of hard to draw
Which is kind of base, nice.
Completely with these kinds of things. I completely agree with you that America is a for-profit country, and so regardless of what trend or what surgery is getting popular, they're going to find a way to make money out of it.
Yeah, America is a for-profit and everything, but an EpiPen costs a whole lot more than testosterone does. So even with that, and we're once again the push for being trans in medical societies, as far as our experience goes, doesn't really exist, because 2 people here are saying that, you know, it was quite the opposite. It took significantly longer for anything to happen, significantly longer to try to do anything, significantly longer than, you know, as far as like cosmetic surgeries or anything like that goes. So
I need to point out, Big Pharma.
Big Pharma is, like, pushing everything, and I'm gonna be a weird conspiratorial fuckwit right about now. Like, oh god. You know, I'm kind of glad the moderator was the one who fucking brought it up, because honestly, I was about to be like, fuck all this. Like, you know, at this point, up until that. Like, I was like, yay, someone actually brought it up and kind of made the topic kind of transcend the initial topic. So, and you know what, they're at least... Weirdly enough, at least, you know, this guy at least seems to kind of agree, yeah, like, some motherfucker's gonna make money off it, but, like, do you think maybe that is a problem, you know, regardless of what the fuck it is, whether it's, like, trans surgeries or literally anything else?
Big money off of butchering little boys and girls. There is...
Oh my god, Arthur, I want you to suffer in Pinhead's Labyrinth, you fucking shit. I want you to suffer the worst that the Cenobites have to offer you, you fucking piece of shit. Like, oh my god. I hate that motherfucker so fucking much. It's incomprehensible.
To be made in this, follow the money. Ted Hidalgo, he's a father who's been fighting very hard because he's in a fraught divorce. His son was being put...
Dude, this motherfucker, like, that Arthur fuck is straight up, like, some sort of talking head fuck, dude. Like, guarantee if I, you could find out, like, you know, like, his full fucking name or some shit. Wait, it's probably in his Instagram. Hold on, let me look. Is it? Shay something, so it's like Shader probably or something like that. Yeah, so like I mean that fuck like is dude, how much do you want to bet that motherfucker's probably been on OAN, Fox News, like Newsmax and shit. He's probably been on these platforms, and also it's probably like spewed some other weird shit. He's making this weird ass, you know, Big Pharma talk point. How much you want to bet he's probably made the same thing for like ivermectin or some shit, but like. Or well, maybe not ivermectin, but like for vaccines and stuff.
Transitions. He saw in his medical bills $200,000 for the chemical treatments alone. We could talk about the Jeff Younger situation. Jeff is trying to fight to save his son. Now his ex-wife has taken the son here to transition him to try to become a girl.
Yeah, because maybe that the father is an abusive fuck and the mom isn't, and is actually willing to affirm the care of their daughter, you piece of fuck, and, you know, is actually trying to, you know, make her life better. Like, maybe that could be it, you piece of shit. Oh my... Man. Can we just, like, assimilate him in the Borg or some shit? Like, having him assimilated in the Borg, the fucking red shirt looking fuck.
Are the medical costs being put upon him, but also legal costs.
So to your point, though, so what we saw out of the whistleblower out of St. Louis, who is a self-identified queer woman who's married to a trans man, and she blew the whistle on what's going on there. Now, where I hear a lot of adults in this situation say that it was a long process for you, that's not what we're hearing from detransitioners and a lot of these patients, and that's not what the St. Louis whistleblower said. She said they were basically pencil whipping psychologist letter so that they could start minors on transition. And that's one of the reasons why I think that clinic is also closing.
I mean, once again, for me, I'm always going to go on personal experience before I go on stats, because there are too many trans people specifically who don't get accounted into those statistics. So it's hard for me to be like, yes, this number and yes, this number. Whatever. But for me, it's like it took 1.5 years of therapy for me, my therapist, who was also trans, to go through that process and write that out for me to be comfortable, or me to be, whatever it may be, to get what I needed. So, and on top of that, the money situation, there's so many trans people who can't afford to transition, whether they're on insurance or not. So for me,
other people are paying for it.
What other
government,
people?
Medicare, Medicaid.
So, yeah, and guess what? Most people, like, in those were you not listening, you fucking idiot? Like, you were saying, like, they can't afford it because, hey, guess what? They don't qualify for it, you piece of shit. Because we're in a for-profit system. Oh my god, Arthur, you actual troglodytic retarded fuck. Oh my god. Can we just make him into a little pancake? Can we just, like...
So let's stop it here. Let's stop it here, and we'll ask the undecided group. Okay, undecided group. Let's hear about which side that you resonate with more, liberals or conservative.
Oh shit! Even the dude who was kind of leaning more conservative, the entire time, and even went over there.
You started off in the undecided, then conservative, and now the liberal. Yeah. You've been all across the spectrum.
All over the place.
Let's hear about what kind of resonated with you more to switch sides this time.
I'm sure and confident that there are practitioners out there who are pushing people to transition, who are just signing off on prescriptions, because yes, I mean, like the points were made, that there is money to be made, of course, but I don't know that I'd go as far as to say, that there is this, like, I think someone mentioned it on the liberal side, that there's like a conspiracy going on. I don't think that's the case. I think again, there are absolutely predatory, practitioners and maybe even large organizations who are looking to profit off of, the medical transitioning process. But, I think someone mentioned, the aspect of personal experiences and how for many trans people, it's extremely expensive. And even if you are on some kind of insurance, or even if you are on some kind of plan, it can still, the cost can, mount up a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I guess in any movement, right, there are going to be people that take advantage about it for their own selfish gains.
How much money is, I guess, there to be made in the transition process?
That's a hard question to answer, right? Because you're creating a medical patient for life. So it's over the course of a person's lifetime that they would be buying hormones and all this. It's not accurate.
I mean, well, I mean, in a sense, I guess it is more, like, in a broad sense, just because, like, our current healthcare system being for-profit does work that way. I mean, it's not necessarily accurate, it only works strictly for just trans people in that sense. But, I mean, in the sense that, like, you have to kind of rely on the current system when it comes to insurance companies and all this other shit. Like, yeah, I mean, it does in that way. Not the way that, she's obviously describing, but at least more as, like, just a broad sense. Yeah.
You have to take
not every trans person.
They have to take. Let's let her speak. Let's let her speak. Let's let her speak. Let's let her speak.
Yeah,
that's it.
Let's let her speak.
So you're right. I mean, there are a lot of people that may come off. It's more so on the trans man side than the trans woman side, where you have to be on hormones forever, otherwise it comes back. And if you have your primary sex organs removed as well. So that's kind of a hard question to answer what it is over the course of a lifetime. I think they've estimated up to 100,000 to 200,000. But like one surgery, so like a vaginoplasty cost about $20,000 to $30,000. I think the phalloplasty costs more, and then you go down a little bit with top surgeries and stuff like that. But it's still thousands of dollars. At least, I mean, a breast augmentation is about $10,000.
I've had children have surgeries and medication for various illnesses, and I always find the way to pay for it. And I found the way to pay for what needed in this case.
How much did it cost? What was the general range?
I'm not comfortable sharing that.
Okay.
I can
Sounds like a good mom.
say that for me, I pay about like $10 every like 4 months for my medication. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
So you've been kind of consistent throughout in each of these prompts of staying on the liberal side.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you might want to ask that may potentially maybe even sway you to the other side? Or just something maybe that you're not considering?
My cousin is trans and he is so important to me. And so saying that it's a mental illness, saying that it's pushing when you can see that so many trans people of color are being denied treatment, I don't think that that's fair to say that it's pushing. I feel like it would.
I feel like my weird assessment about, like, you know, like, why she, like, you know, undecided is kind of might be accurate here. I think she would, like, really might have been, like, you know, leftover of, like, well, you pretty much are going to be on the liberal side, but, you know, there might be, like, one or two things where she might be undecided with, and she's just like, well, you know, we'll make you on the undecided. Fuck it.
Be disrespecting someone very close to me if I was over there and saying that it's a mental illness, and then they're pushing transitioning just so they can make money.
Okay, so you're back on the undecided. What made you stay here?
It's a bit dangerous to generalize or demonize the medical community and state that there's like a wide contingent or conspiracy trying to push transitioning, especially if we don't have evidence of it. I think there's probably, like he was saying, evidence of predatory practitioners and that sort of thing. If it brings them some sort of financial benefit, we do have to question whether their motives are entirely pure, but that could be true of like any disease. So it's kind of both sides, I think, had good points, and both were kind of right. So I'm not in the middle because I can't make a decision. I'm more in the middle because I agree with them both.
Schools?
Oh my god. It's like that quintessential centrist. My god. Should include trans conversations. Yes, move on. Yeah, pretty much, yes. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't know. What's the other prompts? What's the other ones? Like, that's pretty obvious, yes. Keep on making life. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to, it would have been soon be at the very, big bomb. Yeah, they are. All life, all decisions, mine should be allowed. Ethnic transition. I mean... So, what? The schools should go to, yes. I should be able to, yes. I mean, well, to a degree. Yes, within reason. Like, I mean, you know, it's like, obviously there should be, like, you know, like, some sort of, like, developmental process to that, but if they, you know, ultimately decide they want to make those decisions, then, yeah. In line of medically transition, I mean, like, within context and reason, I guess. Like I was saying, I mean, I kind of, you know, addressed that from the beginning. You know, it's like, I don't know if I can handle much more of this one. I mean, like, cause I remember the last Jubilee of, like, the trans liberals and conservatives, and that broke me, and I was like, all right, well, I had my share of that one. So it's like, I mean, having that one, it's like, it's like, man, I can already tell it's just gonna be essentially rehashing the same shit at a certain point. So, and honestly, Arthur's just gonna annoy the utter fuck out of me at a certain point. So I don't need the intrusive thoughts to win that hard. Because holy shit. Wow. Now YouTube's not just recommending me a bunch of Jubilees from like a couple years ago. Just because I, you know, watched that one doesn't mean I want to see the other ones like immediately afterwards. Check another one out like tomorrow or something. Dios mío. Dios mío. I just hate how, like, honestly, like, so much of, like, the whole, like, argument about it is basically just, like, conservatives not understanding what, like, the difference between sex and gender, and they think it's a trend, and it kind of, like, you know, rehashing, but, like, an upgrade, or I guess a downgrade, of, like, the whole, like, gay panic shit. It's just, it's, like, fucking ridiculous, dude. It's like, can they come up with anything new? Astronomers, or astrologists and astronomers see eye to eye. Oh my god. Holy fuck. That was a Jubilee like 2 years ago. Wow. I mean, I would assume that there would probably be at least maybe like on some stuff, maybe with like 1 or 2 of them. I mean, because like I assume someone can probably be, you know, into astronomy a little bit, but also be into that shit. But I mean, it's kind of stupid though. So astrology be a little dumb. Because like, I just like the name of it too, astrology. It's like, it's not the study, like, that's not, like, why do you have the ology in there? Like, I mean, it's like, fuck off with that. Like, no, boo. Like, no. You're not, like, some scientific, like, study of anything. You're like weird hokum pokum bullshit. Like, I mean, like, what the fuck is that? It's like, hell no. At least, it's, also getting more colloquially known as, like, horoscopes. And that, honestly, is a better term for it. Horoscope, weird, like, crystal chakra mom bullshit. I mean, that makes more sense. But, not really too much chance for something there. So, I think I'll at least get this last little bowl cashed out, and what do I want for food? I just have to start thinking about that, because I'm just like, you know what? Don't have too much, but at least have a couple options. I have the very simple, easy peasy, egg sammies that I always love to make, and those are fire as fuck that I love to do. You know what? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do that because it's easy and simple. Simple and easy. Idiot. That looks all good for the rest of the level even. So, peace out, and I shall see you all on the next one. So, a toodaloo, back a woo.